Substance abuse. Something that can develop over a short or long period of time, usually caused by the person's deteriorating mental health and being surrounded by the wrong people. Oh wait, sorry, that was 10 years ago. In 2024, it can also be caused by an artistically talented, god-complex, med-popping dude's text being leaked on social media and thousands of people hopping on his drug abuse train for the views, motherfucker. But we'll get to that shortly. For now, I'd like you to try and remember Tide Pods, the Benadryl Challenge, DXM, cough syrup. All these weird drug trips / challenges were made popular by social media. And today we're gonna look at the most popular ones and what they were, how they started, and finally how they ended. Starting with the Benadryl Challenge. The Benadryl Challenge was a dangerous viral trend that first gained traction on TikTok in 2020. The challenge encouraged users, particularly teenagers, to take excessive amounts of the over-the-counter allergy medication Benadryl to induce hallucinations. The participants would film themselves before and after consuming the drug, documenting their experiences as the effects set in. Girl, are you ready to get messed up? You know it, bitch. It'll all be worth it if we make the For You page a slay. Yas, queen. Okay, put it on recording now. Hey bitches! Today we're doing the Benadryl Challenge, which is supposed to get you seeing all types of hallucinations and stuff. And I'm joined with my BFF, Slurp for Clout 125. What's up, skanks? Anyway, let's get it started. Wah. Okay, let's see how this goes.
A few moments later.
Ruffles, when did you learn how to talk?
I didn't. This isn't even real. You're having a seizure right now, you dumb motherfucker.
Jimmy, you wake up. The Benadryl is fucking crazy. The Benadryl Challenge was basically a dare for teens to overdose on a pill that when used properly helps you sleep off hay fever. When abused, it gives you dreams alright, but instead of counting sheep, you might end up chatting with a lamp, mistaking your cat for an undercover FBI agent, or seeing things that, just aren't there. The risks included, but were not limited to, heart palpitations, seizures, unplanned naps, psychosis, kidney and liver failure, and finally, death. Of course, TikTok wasn't too pleased with being the platform that made overdosing on Benadryl a trend, so after a few high-profile cases, TikTok hit the brakes, yanking down videos really fast. The lesson here might be to keep allergy meds where they belong, as a way to make springtime bearable, not as a weird DIY acid trip. Anyway, moving on to the one that I remember very well, and that was the Tide Pod Challenge. If you don't recall the Benadryl Challenge, then I don't blame you, as it was mostly popular on TikTok in 2020. But Tide Pods? Come on now, bruh. Everybody remembers that shit. I ain't never been a big TikTok scroller, but I do love me some YouTube, and fortunately, unfortunately, this trend was popular here too. Some call it the pinnacle of internet stupidity, where for a brief and horrifying moment, people decided that brightly colored laundry detergent pods looked so delicious that they should be eaten. You know, like candy, but instead of sugar and flavor, it's packed with toxic chemicals designed to clean your damn socks, bruh. Imagine scrolling through your feed and suddenly there's a video of some dude chomping down a Tide Pod like it's the latest snack sensation. Why? Well, no one really knows. Maybe it was the bright colors, maybe it was boredom, or maybe humanity just took a collective dip in the shallow end of the gene pool. Either way, it quickly became the internet's most dangerous snack. People bit into these pods, filmed themselves foaming at the mouth like rabid dogs, and then shared it with the world for likes. Because, risking your life for internet clout is always a great idea.
You got the camera ready?
Yeah, but I don't know about this. I think you're not supposed to eat laundry detergent.
Jimmy, how many times am I gonna explain this to you?
Well, could you explain it again, please?
Long story short, you're gonna record me eat this Tide Pod, and in a week or two, we're gonna be driving around in a motherfucking Lamborghini, bitch!
But mom only gives us like $40 a week. How you gonna do that?
Man, screw the allowance. I'm talking about the Creator Fund, which is like $1 billion. Not to mention YouTube ad revenue. I mean, shit, look at Markiplier, that motherfucker rich as shit.
Well, okay, if you say so.
Yo, what is up, Bean Gang? You've been asking for the Tide Pod Challenge, and I'm here to deliver.
Jimmy? Tom? Why aren't you in bed?
Just a moment, Mom. We're doing laundry. Oh shit. Okay. Let's finish this tomorrow. Put the.
Jimmy, Tom, what are you?
You stupid boys.
Once the Tide Pod Challenge became headline news, the internet finally woke up and realized, wait, maybe eating toxic soap isn't the best idea? Schools, poison control centers, and even YouTube had to step in, issuing warnings and taking down videos left and right. Tide even changed the packaging, making their pods look less like forbidden fruit and more like the cleaning products they actually are. The challenge died down after enough people realized that fame isn't worth burning your insides with detergents. Now it lives on as a cautionary tale about the dangers of internet trends, and as the butt of countless jokes and what not to do with your free time. But now, time for the latest case of internet retardation, which is Whippets, aka Galaxy Gas. Introducing the Whippet Challenge, where people discovered that you could turn a simple can of whipped cream into a great way to kill your brain cells. All you need to do is huff the gas out of the canister and boom, you're floating in the stars, bruh. Spoiler alert, you're not actually in space, you're just temporarily starved for oxygen. But hey, what's a little brain cell sacrifice for the sake of a quick fleeting high, right? Whippets are really just nitrous oxide, so basically the same shit Vin Diesel gets installed in his cars. Difference being, Vin Diesel doesn't inhale it himself, I think. Anyway, the biggest entrepreneur in the whippet space is Galaxy Gas, which although they say is for making whipped cream, that's kinda hard to believe because, well, I mean, look at this packaging. I don't know. I'm not American. Maybe y'all motherfuckers just really take your whipped cream seriously. The info on this subject isn't super concrete yet, but from what I remember, it all basically started with Kanye's text being leaked and people discovering that Yeezus is into whippets, which then inspired thousands of people to do the same and uploaded it to social media. Hey yo, you guys know what's happening with Johnny? I haven't seen that dude in a while. Oh, John, yeah, I remember that guy. He got addicted to whippets and ended up killing half his brain cells, so they had to transfer him to a special school. Kinda sucks. What? Didn't know dude was into shit like that. Where'd he even get those whippets? Walmart. So he got a fake prescription? No. They're sold at the home supply section for like $25, bruh. And you can get a shit ton of them. Damn, that should be illegal. Yeah, I guess. Since this trend is still ongoing at the time of this video, we don't really know how it's gonna end. I checked Galaxy Gas's website though, and it seems they've toned down their marketing a bit, and I couldn't find him at Walmart either. But from what I understand, this trend seems to be one of the worst, cause even though eating Tide Pods or overdosing on Benadryl have the chance of being deadly, I'd assume 99% of people might have done that stupid shit once and realized, yeah, shit, I'll just do the renegade dance instead. With this, it's like an ongoing addiction, and every puff makes you more and more stupid and disabled. Shit, maybe that's how it gets you. If you do enough puffs, the cells in your brains to stop you from doing stupid shit get obliterated, and all you left with is Lil Ye's echoing, hit the gas, I'm a genius. I think all of us here have been high before, and probably drunk too. But have you been both at the same time? Cross-faded. Getting this mixture right is unfortunately quite hard, cause if you smoke too much, you'll be reduced from Mr. Life of the party into a disabled slab of meat on the couch, where you'll spend your night alternating between scrolling TikToks and eating Doritos from your belly. But man, you get this concoction of THC and alcohol right, and the two chemicals will fuse with each other and create something more than they were separately. You'll become Stage 7. I'm so fucked up, man. Nah, but for real, you know how the magic spice makes everything interesting, but at the same time it throws you in the 10x gravity chamber with Vegeta, so every drop of energy you spend feels like you just ran the 100 meters and barely clinched the win over Usain Bolt. Well, the Henny will fix that for you, so if you get the mix right, everybody's stories and conversations will become 5 times more interesting. But at the same time, you also violent off the Henny, so you got the energy to do stupid shit while being zoinked out of your mind. Hey bro, what you doing up here? Shit, we about to jump into the pool, fool! Ain't it a little small? Nah man, it's good, look at this! Hey bro, can you call the ambulance? I'm actually in very serious pain right now. Okay, so I've talked about how awesome it can be, but man, if you're actually wasted, don't smoke the za, cause the za makes it very hard to vomit, and if you're drunk as fuck, you can see how that can be very dangerous. But man, I swear, these guys be enemies one day and best friends the next, cause if you know anything about science like I do, then you know that the best cure for a hangover is that Cali exotic bud. So I always pack that first aid kit for the morning after the party. It can even be used as a vaccine, kind of. So by that I mean if you smoke up before a night out, your hangover won't be nearly as
But thankfully in the morning, I wasn't feeling too bad, but I felt it getting worse. So I went to my homie Salamander and politely asked, "Shall we partake in the rotation of the spliff, my dear man?" "Yes, I believe that is a stupendous idea." "Fabulous. Shall we?" "We shall." And after that holy rotation, party.
I quit getting high for 30 full days after years of consistent use. No wake and bakes, no funny gummies, and even no nighttime tokes. Did I take back control of my life, unlock my full potential, and level up like every Instagram influencer would have you believe? Or did I just realize something way simpler? Well, I guess first we should start from the beginning. The decision to go clean like a jelly bean. It started with my arrival into my new home, Amsterdam, the city of, well, drugs and weeds. Expensive weed at that. I was coming from a not-so-legal country, a country where the za was a rare blessing, a commodity not to be wasted lightly. But my new reality was unlimited zaza. So I smoked. I smoked weed every day, and the more I smoked, the chiller I got. I had made it, coasted up in my apartment, living like a king, playing Crimson Desert, eating pizza, and shooing hoops. Happily ever after, right? Well, the thing with happily ever afters is they don't exist. But the more I smoked and the more I chilled, the more I wanted to believe that they did. I was getting so faded and abusing the things in my life that actually had value as tools for unwinding and turning them into the main quest line. But inside, I felt empty. Not depressed or anything, but like something was missing. Purpose. And the way I had programmed my brain over that time was simple. Feel empty equals smoke it away, which we all know isn't exactly healthy. Until finally I snapped. I was tired of always being chill, always being calm like nothing's wrong when clearly something was wrong. So for the first time I started thinking, it's the weed. It's gotta be the weed. Ah, that's easy. I'll just quit. Okay, well, maybe after tonight.
One day later.
Wait, I was supposed to quit. Oh well, since I'm already faded, I'll do it tomorrow.
The next day.
Life is a highway, and I wanna ride it all night long. Wait, I wasn't supposed to smoke today. Fuck. No, hold up, Brain. What's up, bro? You low-key got me effed up right now, dog. Yeah, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't run this place no more. Man, I can't believe I let this get so far. My brain refuses to accept the idea that the za might be a bit of a problem right now. If I was gonna fight my self-induced crippling Zaza addiction, I was gonna need some help. There was only one man on planet Earth that could bestow upon me the self-improvement and alpha male motivation I needed to get back to my usual ways. I'm talking, of course, about Prime 2022 Andrew Tate.
With sheer indefatigability, makes me a feared opponent in any realm.
Okay, that last part might have been a bit over-exaggerated, but point is, I decided I was gonna quit the za for 30 days on the spot, no questions asked. Not because I was doing bad financially, physically, or even psychologically. It wasn't like I was depressed or anything. I just wanted to prove that the only guy who runs the show in my brain is me. And if I decide to stop using our favorite brain tickler, it shall be so. And so it started, my 30 days off the za. I won't go over every single day, but of course I'll cover all the important bits, like day 1. I woke up with mild brain fog as usual, ready to take on the day with, well, I'm not gonna lie, a bit of sadness, because before my morning routine was, okay, time to do something productive. Whew, that was hard. Time to get absolutely obliterated. But now it was more like, okay, time to do something productive. Okay, what now? It wasn't that my brain was screaming, "We need this!" It was more like I just wasn't content with existing and working. My brain kept jumping. Go play COD. Nah. Go watch something. Nah. Go shoot hoops. Nah. Actually bust a nut. And usually the next thing would have been getting high, but since that wasn't an option, it was just chaos. But overall, not that hard, because I used my favorite life hack, working out. I worked out so much that day, I didn't even think about the za. I was just tired and went to sleep, but it really started getting more challenging on day 2. I woke up same as usual, but that day I felt weird. Nothing scary or concerning, just off. It felt like the fog was starting to fade, but instead of clarity, it was more like, man, stuff really don't be that interesting no more. My desire to play games low, watch movies lower. The only thing that really interested me was working, making videos, building sites, posting. Basically my job, but everything has its turning point. I can't work forever, and even at 10 p.m., a time I usually unwind, nothing was hitting. All I wanted to do was sleep and start the next day, and that felt kinda sad. Like, damn, that's really my whole day. Wake up, work, sleep. Shit seemed kinda matrixy, not gonna lie, so I told myself tomorrow I'm forcing myself to do my hobbies, no matter what. Which brings us to day 3. I woke up feeling better, had a bit of motivation again, did my routine, get dressed, brush teeth, make breakfast, work, gym, and I'm back. Back home, controller in hand, playing Crimson Desert, and yeah, it was fun. But I can't lie, there was definitely a big part of my brain saying, this would be way more fun, huh, boy? But would that really be the case? Even on day 30, I kept thinking, well, we'll find out. Because day 3 is where I really starting accepting life as a non-high man. Time for a time skip to day 7. 1 week in, at this point, I didn't really think about the za anymore. No cravings during the day, and even evenings were getting easier. Although every time I watched a comedy, I couldn't help but think, man, this would be so much better with a couple puffs off the bro cloud. But I stayed locked in, because if I stopped now, I still wouldn't feel like I was in control. So I kept going, which leads us to day 14. 2 weeks off the za, and honestly, it wasn't that hard. The thought of being fried at night started feeling unrealistic. Like, yeah, that would be fun, but not really happening. Like thinking about owning a Lamborghini. Cool idea, but your brain discards it instantly. But I also noticed something else. Although I felt like I had everything on lock work-wise, I was more stressed. Not constantly stressed, but more fixated on perfection, making sure I make 0 mistakes. Before, it was, oh shit, I'll deal with this tomorrow. Now it was, oh man, how was I so stupid? Guess I'm not sleeping tonight. And I think I actually preferred the first one, because constantly worrying about things going wrong makes it feel like something's always wrong, even when it isn't. And that continued into day 21. By week 3, I had basically forgotten about the za as something I do. I still knew it existed, still remembered the fun, but it felt like a memory, like childhood, something you know you can't fully recreate again. Everything was going smoothly, only thing is, like I said, my stress levels were still higher, not because things were going wrong, but because I was thinking they might go wrong. As for hobbies, they were back to normal. I enjoyed gaming and shows again, but now purely as a way to unwind, which low-key made me sad, because as a kid, the best gaming sessions were when you weren't allowed to game. Faking being sick or actually being sick but still grinding your character. That forbidden feeling I used to recreate by getting obliterated during the day was gone. Day 26. At this point I knew I could smoke again soon, but the question was, do I even want to? I had 0 cravings. Some days I didn't even think about it once, which might sound normal, but for me, after years of consistent use, was crazy. And that just reinforced everything good I've ever said about the za. But the moment of truth came on day 30. The final destination. I knew it was day 30, so I was thinking about it all day. Big decision. Do I stay off the za, or do I blast off from a single crumb thanks to my reset tolerance? At first I thought, if I smoke again, this was all for nothing. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it wasn't the za I was addicted to, it was dopamine. The za just enabled it, and comparing it to nicotine, which I also quit, not even close. Nicotine was way harder. I can't even begin to explain how much easier it was to quit this than that. And thinking back, the best highs I had were never from doing it 24/7. It was when it was planned. Weekends, after a hard day, something to look forward to. And so the conclusion I came to was, it's a Zaza life for me. Ya boy went to the coffee shop, got some exotic Tropicana gelato, and got absolutely effing obliterated. But this time, different. No autopilot, no everyday habit. Wake and bakes are fine sometimes, but they gotta be planned. You can't let your brain get used to doing whatever it wants whenever it wants. Because if you actually want to enjoy the za and still live a fulfilling normal life, you need discipline. But hey, who knows when my next Zaza bender will be, cause let's be honest, living life on the high seas is never stable. But a pirate loves every moment of it.
I don't know about you guys, but I swear, these days whenever I go outside to catch some fresh air and enjoy the glory of the sun, I'm instantly greeted with mofos triple tapping the Elfington like it was a raid boss. Young, old, fat, ripped, it don't matter. Everybody consuming the Nick some way or the other. Shit, not even our goddamn elementary schools are safe. 12-year-old kids be waking up one day and just being like, you know what? Today seems like the perfect day to get an awful addiction that I will regret for the rest of my life and struggle to control daily. Yeah, better hit up Jimmy too. Maybe he wants to join in. But not all nicotine addicts are the same. In fact, there are a lot of different perspectives on the whole addiction aspect. But one of the worst types to be is the dude who never admits he is addicted. We all know a dude like this. Mofo be sucking on the Benjamin 24/7 or stuffing pouches under his gums every 5 minutes. But when asked if he is addicted, he always hits you with the, "Nah bro, just the fuh. I can quit whenever, I just don't wanna right now." Like, what you mean you don't wanna? Bro been consuming so much Nick, his brain has literally turned into a damn elf bar. And when you tell him to prove it by, I don't know, not vaping for a week, they always hit you with that, "Man, I ain't gotta prove nothing to you. You don't know me, what I've been through. I'm a dog, I'm a killer." No, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. Even though this dude kinda stubborn, I feel for him. Cause who really wants to admit they can't stop? But this next dude, I don't feel bad for at all. The guy who seems to think it's cool to be addicted. Okay, no one thinks it's nice to be addicted, but I mean, that's what this guy pretty much is. They think vaping makes them cool, and therefore shames others for not wanting to. In reality, pretty much every other nicotine consumer will tell you to never start doing it, and that it's much cooler to just breathe air. So, therefore, this guy is, or at least should be, hated by everyone on planet Earth. And if you ever catch a mofo pushing vaping to a homie, just run up on him and slap the shit out of him. Kick him in the balls while you're at it. Or, I don't know, at least spit in his face or something. Fucking asshole. But enough of this hobgoblin, let's move on to the dude who smokes cigs. Okay, this might offend some people, but cigs are goddamn disgusting. And I'm pretty sure they're even worse for you than vaping and nicotine pouches, although don't quote me on that. This guy lives and dies by, "It's all natural, bro," and proclaims, "At least I know what's in it." Like, sorry for hanging on to hope that just maybe, I might not get cancer. Cause this dude already marked his calendar for the good old iron lung. Not much to say except for, man kinda smells, so 1 out of 10. Never touch nicotine, let alone cigs. But now it's time for the occasional addict. Okay, this one is near to my heart, cause sad to admit it, this is kinda me. This dude doesn't have his own vape or pouches or cigs or anything, but that doesn't mean he isn't addicted because he still consumes Nick whenever he's offered or the opportunity arises. Speaking from experience, this guy kind of in limbo cause even though there could be weeks, even months when he doesn't touch the Elfington, but then one day he might go somewhere with the homies and do something like this. You wanna hit this? No. Okay. On second thought... So yeah, even though it's a seasonal addiction, it's still an addiction. So call yourself out every time a nicotine addiction
moment happens. But time for the last one. I only consume Nick when I'm stressed. So, you only hit the Puffington when you're stressed, eh? So, what qualifies as being stressed? You lose your job, you get robbed, you lose your car keys, you stub your toe, you experience a mild inconvenience of forgetting the lights on in your room, so now you have to go all the way upstairs to turn them off. So yeah, as you can see, this one is kind of a slippery slope, cause believe me, the more you mess around with the Nick, the more you're gonna be in moments like this.
What? That's so... Man...
Unfortunately, it's all a ruse, cause in reality, you only consume Nick when you feel like it. So you're addicted, just like everybody else. And a word of advice, don't start vaping, okay? It's not good for you. Running out of za. Man, I swear, this phenomenon is always so unexpected. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason, however long I plan ahead and try to time my grass running out, it always comes kicking in like the damn Kool-Aid man. I'll be out here the night before looking at the bottom of my grinder like,
Okay, I guess I gotta buy some more tomorrow.
and then when the next day comes, I'll be all flabbergasted like, oh boy, nothing better than some good old za at the end of the
Day...
What? This can't be. How have I ran out of za? I literally just had some
yeah,
And now that you realize that you out of grass, you got three options. You either accept your fate and just go on with your night, hit up your plug and get ready to lose out on your hard-earned money, or the legendary special down bad method I often do, empty out all your grinders, search through all your pockets, and scrape together one last hit so you can delay the buying of the za for one more day. But although I do this quite often, I don't recommend it, cause I swear, those scrape together hits are always some 20% plastic, 20% dust, 20% dirt smack dabbly doos. So every time I do hit that awful abomination of a bowl, it'll have me all paranoid about what the f did I just smoke like? Man, why that smell like burning plastic? Why am I not even high? Bro, why am I so lightheaded? Mom, I think I'm dying. So basically what I'm saying is, scraping together hits from basically nothing isn't really the healthiest move you can make. But shit, hitting up the plug at the end of the day is a struggle in its own right. Cause I don't know why these damn plugs are always unavailable when you need them the most. Like Mr. Invisible could be spamming me all day with Snapchats like... But then later, when your hitman's up asking for some za, he disappears like the Avatar. Doesn't even open your messages. These plugs really don't care about us for real, man. Speaking of which, that reminds me of this one time when we ran out and had to travel through the whole of the ghetto version of Narnia just to get some za. It was just a normal day, well, night, where me, Salamander, and Ricky had planned to smoke some grass and just chill. And of course, Salamander, being the ultra reliable photographic memory dude he is, informed us that he def has enough grass for us all to enjoy at his place. So me and Ricky pull up, excited as you can be, only to arrive at the house and be informed, yo, what's good? Are you ready to get absolutely schmacked? She, of course, Phil, but what? Yeah, I just checked my room and, well, it turns out I don't have any grass. What do you mean you have no grass? You said you had a ton, bro. Yeah, I mean I did, but I kinda smoked it all. Man, what the... Why you gotta do us like that, bro? You got us all hyped for this, and now we're here in your mansion and you're telling us there's no grass? Like bro, I'm finna cry, for real, man. Yeah, bro, you're right, I'm sorry, I messed up. But don't worry, I already hit up Jimmy the Plug God. We can drive there now. Okay, sure, let's go. So we go into Salamander's parents' car, which was sleek AF, and quite literally went to the bad part of town with it, feeling like some mafia bosses, for real. But once we arrived at Jimmy the Plug God's house, he was nowhere to be seen, and well, turns out, dude hadn't even texted Salamander back. He just had us come here in hopes that the time we arrived, he would. As we were sitting in the car, waiting for a good 15 minutes at that point, Salamander tells us the dude's probably isn't gonna respond. But he already wrote another plug and he def gonna hook us up. So we drive to a new place where this time the plug was actually waiting for us. So we hopped out the car and walked towards him. Yo, what's good, bruh? Yo, what's up? So, do you got that Zaza?
Of course, yeah. Here it is.
Bro, is that 2 G's like I asked?
Yeah, it's just compact, you know, like a dime.
Bro, fuck off. If that's 2 G's, then prove it. What are you waiting for? Put it on the scale.
Nah, bro, I don't sell to people who don't trust me. Disrespectful AF.
Nah, bruh, disrespectful is trying to show the long-term customer in his hour of need. Keep your diamond to yourself, big dog. We outta here.
Yeah, whatever. See.
As our hopes were dwindling, we were in Salamander's car about to call it quits when the only plug that was exclusive to me and nobody else knew of finally responded to my message saying to meet up and that he got the za. So we go to yet another location in hopes that finally we would get our now well-deserved bag of grass. And once we arrived at the meetup spot, which was a pizza restaurant by the way, we parked the car and text Mr. Invisible that we're outside waiting for him. A good 10 minutes goes by with no response, so the overall mood is starting to get pretty gloomy, as we quite literally have just driven around for hours trying to secure just a smidgen of za. And although we were truly experiencing a Gen Z 21st century Great Depression, we were saved with the text,
Oh, he responded.
"Oh snap."
What'd he say, bro?
He said, yeah, coming out now.
Nice.
And this time, he actually did. Dudes came out with an apron, chef's hat, and the long-awaited bag. So we went there, and thankfully, it was actually 2 G's, not a diamond. And man, I ain't never been so glad for just a smidgen of za in my life, but can you blame me? I mean, this was a full-on journey, and although the time was like 11 p.m. at this point, we weren't too discouraged as we thought, screw it, let's pull an all-nighter, baby. So finally, after hours of waiting and talking to incompetent plugs, we arrived back at the mansion and did what we came there to do. Smoke a shit ton of grass, eat an unholy amount of munch, and wake up the next day feeling more hazy than a foggy morning. Which the highlight of the night was definitely when Salamander said he was gonna bake some magic cookies, but since we were already f***ed AF, dudes left them in the oven for like 3 hours. And then finally, when we had that "oh shit, the cookies" moment, we went there and found them completely burnt. But, you know, we still ate them and, well, they kinda worked, I think. I don't know. We were so blasted, we probably could have eaten some damn Oreos and thought ourselves more high because of it. So, all in all, running out of za is, for some reason, always so unexpected. But I've learned to enjoy the journey as much as the destination. And although, at the time, driving around searching for grass was annoying AF, looking back at it, it was actually pretty fun. And the night was definitely more memorable because of it.
Smoking ganja, inhaling nature's secret mist, partaking in the forbidden lettuce. Call it what you want, it doesn't really matter. What does matter is how you act when you do it. And not just how you act in the moment, but your mindset toward the za in general. Because after about 3 years of being a self-appointed Zaza scientist, I've started to notice something. Your relationship with the Lord's Loud is often just a reflection of your overall personality. Are you a binge toker, a controlled, consistent explorer, or are you the guy who only really enjoys being faded when everyone else around him is also faded? There's a lot to unpack here, so let's just start this off properly with the unwinder. The unwinder is a type of lettuce enjoyer who uses the grass to, well, unwind. And I don't just mean he tokes up at night after work. His entire mindset toward the lettuce is basically flipping a switch in your brain that activates chill mode. Whether he's alone or with friends, he's almost always down for whatever, as long as it doesn't involve interrupting his chill. So if you're faded in a group with this guy and someone goes, "Hey, you know what will be crazy? If we all went skinny dipping right now in that ice cold pond outside," you can know with 100% certainty that he does not want to go. Internally, he is in agony because everyone just agreed to an activity that is completely incompatible with a chill night. But since he is chill to the max, instead of complaining like a little bitch, he goes along with it. He does the stupid skinny dipping, he participates, he nods along, but he looks visibly dead inside because while everyone else is out there having fun, all he's thinking is, "I can't wait for this to be over so I can get high and watch alpha male influencers," ironically, for comedy. Which brings us to the bane of the unwinder's existence, the recovering alcoholic.
And obviously, I don't mean this literally. I mean the type of dude who doesn't view the grass much differently than he views poison in a bottle. To him, getting faded means entering an altered state of mind where the goal is activity, banter, movement, ideas, doing things. And I hate this guy. Well, not really. Because if you've ever been in a sesh made of only unwinders, you know the problem. The aura of chill becomes overwhelming. Everyone is so content with whatever that nothing actually happens. No show or movie gets chosen, no midnight McDonald's run is agreed upon, no potential link up with some baddies is even explored because all of those things would interrupt the chill night. But here's the reality. Even the chillest of tokers enjoys a bit of flair, a bit of spice, something that adds variety and gives you a new appreciation for chilling afterward, which even the chillest of unwinders need a little adventure now and then, if only to have something to talk about afterwards. So while the unwinder and this guy are complete opposites, they actually need each other to survive. One prevents chaos, the other prevents stagnation. Together, balance. But beyond the yin and yang of Za smokers, there are a lot of more specific archetypes, and one I've been noticing a lot lately is the one who starts moving irregular. You'd think this one would be super common, but it actually isn't. For most people, the Za just amplifies who they already are. Sure, they'll have more wild takes, more philosophical comments, maybe some outlandish remarks, but it's still them. When the Zaza gets someone moving irregular though, you can tell instantly. I'm talking about the dude who changes, he warps, he becomes a version of himself you never see. Maybe it's a side that's always there internally but only comes out when he's high. Who knows? A lot of these people start talking. And I mean talking. They laugh at everything, every thought gets externalized, and depending on the situation, they become a lot to manage. As a proud unwinder, it's always wild to watch someone smoke up and then act like they just did a line in the bathroom. It feels like they're saying everything that pops into their head, sometimes in a way that makes holding a conversation borderline impossible. And holding a convo while high is already hard enough without someone interrupting every 5 seconds. That said, I try not to be a D about it, because it reminds me of the days when I'd smoke a bowl and feel like I just entered a completely different universe. And also because usually these dudes don't smoke that often, and telling someone to talk less while they're high is one of the fastest ways to absolutely murder their vibe. When you're high, you just want to say what's on your mind, and I respect that. I just wish there was a slight verbal filter involved, for the sake of being able to talk about one subject for longer than 10 seconds. Which, quite ironically, this guy also has an exact opposite. The sunken place. I low-key used to be like this, and the reason was pretty simple. I wasn't fully comfortable sharing my high thoughts, or honestly my thoughts in general. I've always processed life a bit differently. But enough self-glazing. The sunken place isn't really a type of Za smoker per se, but it can be, especially if you find yourself entering it often well off the Zaza. It's a state of deep thinking, analyzing, criticizing, planning, but instead of doing it normally or sharing some of those thoughts if you're in a group, you completely disappear into your own head. From the outside, it just looks like you're quiet, maybe a little sad, because let's be real, nobody thinks deeply with a smile on their face. If you've ever toked up with someone like this, you've probably felt inclined to ask, bro, you good? Or, what you thinking about? But I'm sorry to tell you, despite your good intentions, all you're really doing is interrupting his 7-layer plan to escape the Matrix, or his full psychological analysis of everyone in the room. What makes it funny is when he finally snaps back to reality, because you could be talking about some random shit for like 20 minutes, he's been quiet as a mouse the entire time, and then suddenly he just goes, yeah bruh, that's why I stay looks-maxing. Man jumps into conversation like he hasn't just spent the last 20 minutes completely alone in his own head, straight scheming. But now, for one, I would just straight up not invite to the sesh. The ultra serious one. Some people can't be saved. You think an uptight, overly serious person would inhale the relaxing magic and finally unwind a bit. And to be fair, most of the time that does happen. But then there are the ones who simply cannot be helped. The ones who have never been prescribed the chill pill in their entire life. These are the dudes who don't realize the irony of how helpless and useless having a strong opinion actually is. People who, for some reason, still haven't realized that they are not even a tiny gear in the rotation of the world. They're just a microscopic fraction of the oil needed to keep the machine running. And yeah, sure, Obama and shit had strong opinions too, and he became president. Whether you like him or not, at least he tried to do something instead of just complaining. But this guy, his aspirations stop at making manageable
manager at Best Buy. Meanwhile, his opinions, especially while high, are so intense that you're genuinely nervous to pull up AI
Stole that
Trump
shit.
memes while he's in the room. And don't even think about sharing a chill thought like, maybe we should all just get along. He'll instantly counter with some facts he got from TikTok about how the world government is actually ran by AI reptiles planning a full-scale takeover. The system is corrupt, America is doomed, and if you think otherwise, don't worry. He remembers another obscure article about something Trump allegedly said in 2019 about invading mainland Mongolia with nuclear-powered drones built by a secret McDonald's military division. And I mean, shit, who knows, maybe he's right. But what he doesn't realize is that he's not the only person in the room who watches YouTube and talks to ChatGPT. He is, however, the only person in the room who hasn't realized that none of it actually matters. And even if it did, what the hell would you even do about it? Every type of cannabis explained, from weakest to strongest. We'll be looking at everything from the near oregano low-grade flower that you probably smoked in high school to the most insane near 100% THC concentrates that are sold at the top shelves of Cali dispensaries. Additionally, with the help of science and medical studies, we'll be categorizing each type of cannabis in the spectrum of entertainment, medical, creativity, and just plain old unhealthy. The objective of this video is to educate the public about the positives and negatives of weed in an entertaining way, but to do that, it is essential we discover how extremely varying different types of marijuana can be and why generalizing it as weed is good or weed is bad is just plain impossible. So without further ado, let's get into the weakest type of za there is, and that is low percentage THC flower and or CBD dominant strains. Okay, so I went into this video presuming you already know what THC and CBD is, but in case you don't, let's quickly summarize. THC is the chemical compound found in cannabis that makes you when did Family Guy become so funny? aka the munchies, laughter, feelings of euphoria, and overall its psychoactive effects come from THC. And CBD is the compound that reduces anxiety and can potentially help against depression, although the latter isn't as conclusive. There's also two distinct types of cannabis unrelated to its THC percentage called sativa and indica, with sativa providing more of an energetic mind high and indica leaning towards a relaxing body high. So when we are talking about low percentage THC flower, aka 1 to 6% THC with a high concentration of CBD, we are in the realms of medical marijuana, meaning this type of weed, besides pure CBD of course, is the least intoxicating and can be potentially helpful to people with varying mental health issues. Just always keep in mind, smoking anything is harmful for our lungs, and even though this type of cannabis can be considered medical, it really depends on the person, their psyche, and what issues they are experiencing. So now we know low percentage THC flower links to the medical side, but what about entertainment and creativity? Well, although this type of cannabis won't have you staring at your wall for 30 minutes plotting your trip to the kitchen, it can, however, still give you a different perspective on things. Unrealistic feelings of euphoria and cartoonish thoughts probably won't occur, but that doesn't mean your creativity won't be affected at all. You might not come up with the next Rick and Morty while under the influence of this gas, but you could come up with creative solutions to pre-existing problems or give you a slightly different perspective on what you're doing. Coupled with the high concentration of CBD, which could help you feel more at ease and reduce possible anxiety that might have been attached to you before, this type of weed is best for beginners or people who could be trying to reduce their weed dependency without going straight up cold turkey. And that's why it lands itself in the far end of the medical spectrum, but not so much in the creativity and entertainment part of the fucking thing. Anyway, moving on, mid-grade THC flower, the mid-shelf gas. I won't go over this too long as it's quite similar to the previous one, but with slight differences. Mid-grade flower usually ranges between 10 to 20% THC with varying levels of CBD, which general rule of thumb is for medical use, go with the highest CBD percentage, and if you just want to get faded with your friends and play split screen Minecraft, get the one with the highest THC. Just make sure it still has some CBD in it so you don't, well, green the fuck out. Why I say that is because contrary to popular belief, CBD and THC do not bind to the same receptors in our brains, but through various studies and my own personal experience, CBD in most cases can reduce the adverse effects caused by THC, aka freaking out, feelings of discomfort, spikes in anxiety, etc. That's why even if you're an experienced stoner, it's good to have some CBD oil or flower that can help you if you're getting those unwanted side effects from some high percentage THC cannabis. So this type of weed lends itself higher in creativity and entertainment, but a bit lower in terms of its medical benefits. Moving on, high percentage THC flower, aka premium bud. This is the point where we start leaning much further away from the medical side into the entertainment and creativity side. High-end flower usually ranges between 20 to 35% THC, and unfortunately most of this top shelf flower is engineered to have very little or sometimes nearly zero CBD, which is why I said that this is the point where we really start deviating away
away from the term medical cannabis. But you might be asking, why can't I just get my flower with both high CBD and THC, you stupid Well, let me explain. Cannabis plants can naturally express high levels of either THC or CBD, but rarely both. This is because THC and CBD are derived from the same precursor, CBGA. The plant's genetics determine which enzyme, THC synthase or CBD synthase, is more active. In high THC strains, the THC synthase enzyme dominates, converting most CBGA into THC, leaving little room for CBD production. To add to it, cannabis growers have traditionally bred plants to maximize THC levels because of its psychoactive effects, which are highly sought after in recreational markets. Over time, this selective breeding reduced the expression of CBD in high THC strains, as the two cannabinoids tend to work in an inverse relationship. So it's also unfortunately us, the consumers' fault that super high THC and low CBD percentage is the baseline for top shelf gas these days. With brands constantly trying to compete with each other and providing the most mind-boggling high possible, there isn't really a lot of demand for high percentage CBD flower that still gets you very high. People buying weed for recreational use usually only care about the get you very high part. But I'm not saying that there is absolutely no place for this type of weed in the medical world, but it is extremely situational. The same way as inviting a friend out to have a couple drinks and watch the game on a Saturday night to alleviate the stress and anxiety from a hard week of work, this high THC flower can be a fun night to blow off steam and take your mind off real world problems for a while because, well, this shit could have you so obliterated you'll be using 100% of your brain power on figuring out how to tie your shoe, bruh. AK, this is imagination land. I'm kinda going off personal experience on this, but the artists and musicians I know seem to enjoy this type of cannabis the most, as it can completely block off the real world and enter you into this trance state where you are 100% focused on whatever you are doing.
But CBD, bro, doesn't that mean it helps with ADHD and anxiety?
In the moment it can, unless, well, you couldn't handle it and are instead rolled up in a ball on your couch focusing on defeating your demons. Anyway, multiple medical studies have shown that high concentration THC flower does not help against anxiety, depression, and ADHD at all. What it does instead is give you an escape from your ADHD, depression, or anxiety for a brief moment whilst under the influence, and even that doesn't come without a cost. As if you smoke too much of this high THC flower, or really any weed, you'll build up a dependency and in return feel even more distracted, have more anxiety, and increased levels of depression whilst not under the influence. AKA, if your friend claims to be smoking that top shelf Zaza for anything else than a fun time, he's either lying to you, himself, or he's just been smoking up for so long he doesn't even remember what it was like to be sober in the first place. So through everything we talked about, I'll have to place this type of cannabis right on the border of unhealthy and medical, with a very high level of creativity and entertainment. But now let's talk about our first non-farm to table cannabis, and that is hash, aka traditional concentrate. Hash, short for hashish, is one of the oldest cannabis concentrates made by collecting and compressing the trichomes, resin glands, of the cannabis plant. These trichomes contain the plant's cannabinoids and terpenes, making hash potent and flavorful. The potency varies heavily depending on the plant that was used to make it, but in general they can range anywhere between 20 to 60% THC. The biggest difference that me and other smokers I've talked to have noticed is that the high from hash, although quite strong, is usually shorter. And because this stuff is concentrated, 1 gram of hash will almost always get you higher than 1 gram of flower. The good thing about hash is, although it is concentrated cannabis, it is still natural. Traditional methods of making hash do not use any chemicals or solvents. Instead, they rely on mechanical processes like rubbing, sifting, or using ice water to extract the resin. Because of the wide variety of potency, it's quite hard to place this on our spectrum, but I'm going to put it just a bit closer to the medical side than the high potency flower, and a bit less to the creative side due to its shorter duration, which can make entering that trance state I talked about a bit hard.
Other concentrates, 60 to 95% THC. Besides hash, there's like 10 different ways to get THC concentrate from the Zaza, some of which don't use solvents and some that do. If I were to go over every single one individually, this video would probably be like 30 minutes. And since there isn't really a huge difference in potency between them, I'll quickly summarize. Rosin, made by applying heat and pressure to cannabis flower, key for hash to extract resin. Live rosin, a solventless concentrate made from fresh frozen cannabis that's first turned into bubble hash and then pressed into rosin. Shatter or wax, extracted using butane or propane and then purged to remove residual solvents. Live resin, extracted from flash frozen cannabis using butane or propane, then purged. Diamonds, THC crystals. THC is crystallized using hydrocarbons and solvent-based processes. THC distillate, cannabinoids are extracted using solvents, aka ethanol or CO2, and then refined through distillation. Phew!
And those are the most popular concentrates, which the most flavorful are usually live resin or rosin, as these retain the most terpenes. And the strongest concentrates are usually diamonds or THC distillate. But the reality is, unless you're like a super stoner, you probably won't be able to tell much of a difference between all of them, as every single concentrate is bound to get you absolutely bamboozled, unless you know, of course, you have an insane tolerance. The main takeaway from concentrated THC is that it builds up your Zaza tolerance very fast compared to regular bud because of its high potency and usually shorter duration, making you smoke up more often. Which is why I will be placing them closer to the unhealthy side, but also the entertainment side due to the mind-boggling high it gives. But now onto the strongest type of smokable weed there is, in my opinion, and that is infused flower, aka Moonrock or Sunrock, 50 to 80% THC. You might be asking yourself why infused flower is ranked higher than concentrates when the THC percentage is actually lower. Well, take it from me, as someone who has done both dabs, aka concentrate, and infused flower, the small difference in THC percentage really doesn't matter in this case. The reason for that is, unlike dabs or the Benjamin, which on average has a shorter duration than bud, infused flower gives you the insane kick of concentrate whilst also providing the longer effect of normal bud, which in my eyes makes this the most potent smokable weed on planet Earth. But feel free to have a war in the comments about it. I'll be reading every single one like always. Placement on the spectrum will almost be the same as concentrate, but because you won't be smoking up as frequently and in return damaging your lungs a bit less, I'll put it just a bit closer to the medical side, but still definitely unhealthy. Now for the last type of Zaza that is in a league of its own, and that is of course edibles. Infinite THC percentage. Why I rank Eddies as the strongest type of weed is quite simple. In the act of cooking cannabis, it turns into something different, something otherworldly, something psychedelic. If you watch some of my other videos, you'd know that I view super potent edibles as something entirely different than normal weed. I'd even go as far and compare them to mushrooms. And science has my back on this because when you digest THC in your liver, it turns into something far more potent, and return when you go to the cinema and watch Oppenheimer, you'll probably be overwhelmed and geek the fuck out. Watch the video on the screen and you'll know exactly what I mean. Oh, and because you're not damaging your lungs in controlled doses, I'd say this is by far the healthiest way to consume cannabis, so far in medical, far in entertainment, but not so much creative because you'll most likely be immobilized. Thanks for watching.
I don't know about you guys, but the high schools I went to, everybody and their mamas was puffing on some type of G Fuel flavored mist. Got to the point where mofos were scared to go to the bathroom in fear of getting peer pressured into taking a quick rip. I mean, imagine being the new kid at school and you just want to take a quick poopington in the bathroom, but as soon as you walk in, you're greeted with 4 dudes sharing the mist machine whilst hogging the whole sink area. Worst part was, every time you walked in, they made you feel like you were doing something wrong, like you interrupted their confidential meeting or some. Thankfully, even though I never really got into vaping, I was cool with most of the dudes who did. So today, I thought I'd go over all the types of vapors I encountered during my high school career. So let's get right into number 1, the Airbender. This guy's the one who did all them cool tricks the other kids couldn't do. I'm not sure if he got any respect from knowing the ways of the wind, but shit, gotta respect the dedication. Cause when I hit the occasional Puffington, I always try to recreate them. To be honest, that's the only reason I ever took a rip. I just thought they looked so cool. Dude was in the bathroom blowing jellyfishes or whatever the tricks were called. Mofo was looking like he lived in the Hidden Mist Village. The Hidden Mist Village being the school bathroom, of course. But besides that, these dudes were pretty chill. They never really peer pressured anyone nor begged for quick rips. In fact, they were the one who donated them quick rips. Cause I mean, to learn all those tricks, dudes had to have a copious amount of that sweet mango flavored liquid. But talking about begging for quick rips, number 2, the Parasite. Oh boy, the Parasite. The universally hated vapor. This the kid that was always in the damn mystified bathroom slithering around on that my precious shit. Dude usually didn't even have his own vape, but was the one that was always puffing on one. Most of the time, no one really cared too much though, cause passing your piece was part of the game. But bro, this one time I was taking a dump and I overheard this happen. Yo guys. Yeah, what's up, man? My man, can you give me a quick rip? Bro, you always come in here with that, can I get a quick rip? Like, nah bro, not anymore. Get your own vape. Nah bro, I didn't know you stingy like that, bro. This is why no one likes you. Man, shut your bitch ass up before I make you shut up. What you gonna do, bro? These dudes were really fighting in the bathroom over some watermelon flavored air. But one thing's for sure, that dude never asked for a quick rip from that guy again. To be honest, I rarely saw that dude in the Hidden Mist Village after that. Other dude must have beaten the nicotine addiction right out of that man. God damn. Anyway, time for the next dude on the list, which is number 3, the Plug. You ever wonder where all them high schoolers were getting their mango juice? Well, the answer to that is either they got some random guy to buy it for them from the shop, or they had this dude in their Snapchat friends list. This mofo was straight ballin'. Dude must have been feeling like El Chapo walking those school hallways, cause everybody kinda knew him, even the kids who didn't vape. Although the plugs I knew weren't even big vapors themselves, and I always felt like they were in the circle mostly to advertise their new product. But boy did that shit sell. See, if you bought your death liquid from the store, you were paying a premium, but not from this guy. I actually looked into this when I was in school, and how they were able to have such cheap prices is by buying the base tasteless liquid in bulk from eBay or some, and then flavoring it themselves at their base of operations. If you look at it straight up, these guys were kinda scumbags, selling addiction to kids. But then again, they were the same age themselves, so they probably didn't even contemplate the moral aspect of it, so I forgive them. Not that it matters though, these dudes probably off somewhere in Colombia right now fighting for mango juice territory or some shit. Anyway, time for number 4. The guy who got peer pressured into vaping. Bro, I always felt low-key bad for this guy. I mean, dude was a good quality student until one day one of his homies introduced him to Julius Caesar. And at first, he was hesitant, but once he took that Puffington, it was game over. Dude went from, no thanks, I don't vape, to, hey bro, can I get a quick rip? It's sad to see, but unfortunately, unlike cigs that taste like dirt, the mechanical cancer machine will not openly admit to its nature and trick you into a subtle but noticeable addiction. So if you're thinking of hitting one quick rip, don't. You literally might regret it for the rest of your life. On some iron lung shit. But time for the biggest douchebag of them all. Number 5. The peer pressure. Man, how I hated this guy. Dude got his dumb ass addicted, and now he feels like everybody else should be too. Out of everyone on the list, I dealt with this guy the most, cause a lot of my friends were vapors, so I would often find myself in the vape circle, even though I wasn't a big fan of the Puffington. But this dude had zero self-control. Dude would be blowing mist in the group's face and would always be like, hey bro, don't you know the rules? To be in this bathroom, you gotta take at least 5 rips. Nah bro, I'm good. Man, stop being a pussy. Just one rip, come on. No, really bro, I'm good. Come on, just take one. Yo, what's wrong with you, bro? You broke my vape. You gotta buy me a new one now. Or how about you buy yourself a new one and I won't tell your mom you're selling mango juice to 7th graders. Sound good?
Types of people you should never blaze with. If you've ever smoked with friends, you know being high with others can be a great time, and in a lot of ways much more fun than being high alone. But it can also be awful and cause anxiety if you're with the wrong group. So today we're gonna go over types of people you should never smoke up with, starting with the oversmoker. The oversmoker is someone who wants to hit that Benjamin way too much. Now don't get me wrong, I got nothing against a good old limit breaker sesh, but if you're the oversmoker, you never actually doing that. Cause your tolerance is so high, even if you grabbed a beehive-sized chunk of wax and dabbed the whole thing, you still stand there like, phew, I think I feel something. Another reason I really don't like blazing with these dudes is cause you can't ever really dive into a topic and enjoy the high, cause every 10 minutes you hear that, hey, let's do another hit. Like, what you mean, dog? We just did 3 hits in 30 minutes. I'm halfway fused with the couch, and your homie is in the corner explaining how the government controls us with tap water. We don't need another hit, bro. One positive this guy has, I guess, though, is he is always equipped with a ridiculous amount of za. Dudes must get his shit from the same guy Gordon Ramsay was hitting up, cause it's always some damn exotic. Even so, their vibe ain't really one I fuck with, so if you're this guy, I'ma respectfully advise you to maybe consider taking a tea break or some, cause there is a point where it's too much. Unlike the next guy, who doesn't even need any side to be annoying, and he is Mr. Paranoid. I think we've all gotten paranoid from the grass before, and that ain't nothing to be ashamed of, cause sometimes there really ain't nothing you can do. But the occasional paranoid episode ain't what this guy has. This dude, even before taking a rip, is talking about some, hey yo, you sure this ain't lace, right? No, what? This is the same stuff as last time, bro. Okay, that's good. Can you check if there's any cops around? Bro, there's no cops. We're in the fucking woods. Yeah, okay, but wait, before we smoke, let me check if this place is haunted. Man, what is this guy on? Like, bro, what do you mean haunted? This ain't Conjuring, bro. Why you always trying to set a negative vibe for everyone? But however much you assure my mans that no, it's okay. We're not about to be swatted on some Twitch streamer shit. His mind just can't seem to get over it. And worst part is, dude never tries to deal with his paranoid problems on his own. You can all be having a fun time talking about some GTA 6 leaks or something, and he'll just ruin it all with, hey yo guys,
You hear that?
Hear what?
Bro, I swear, I just heard someone walking outside.
So? It's a neighborhood. That's what people do.
Yeah, but the window's open. He could have saw us all high.
Yeah, but it ain't like you're gonna call the cops.
Cops? There's cops?
What? No. Chill, man. There's no cops.
Nah, bruh. I think I'm greening out. I need some fresh air or something.
Bro just decides, yup, I'm greening out now. Like, no, your personality is just very insecure, and you should probably get that figured out before you take another smack dabbly do off that Benjamin. Anyway, this guy ain't no fun to blaze with, cause he's very prone to ruining the vibe, so avoid at all costs. But this next guy is more of a personal preference, so you might disagree with me, but for a guy I don't like getting high with it, the Grass NPC. I think we've all met one of these, whether you knew it at the time or not. This is the type of dude who lives, breathes, and of course, smokes grass. I mean, really, dudes physically can't talk about anything else for more than a minute, cause he has no goals or aspirations that stretch further than, I wanna get suited AF. Which, wanting to get suited ain't nothing bad. I mean, most of us here probably love bacon, but come on, bro, at some point you gotta think about your life, your future, or I don't know, just something else than grass. Why I personally don't like hanging with a dude like this is cause his stories always are so centered around how high he was. I mean, bro, I get it, you went to school high. Like, at some point after hearing about the 78th time of dudes being high in class, you start to notice that man's actually has nothing interesting to say except, yeah, I was so gone when I was in math class. Yeah, bro, we went to the zoo and I was not on planet Earth. Like, bro, when are you ever on planet Earth? And I find it hard to believe this guy, cause if you blazing so much, do you even feel high anymore? Like, don't you just get used to the feeling and it becomes normal? Anyway, don't be this guy. He ain't making it past level 1 of life, for real. Unless he, like, starts his own dispensary or something. Then it could work out very nicely, actually. But the next type of dude on the list is the guy that wants to be taken way too serious. I don't know if you guys ever talked to someone like this, but I have a couple times, and it's annoying AF. You know how when you blaze, you tend to go on rants and halfway lose your train of thought and then just end up saying, shit, I don't know what I'm talking about. And everyone laughs and moves on? Well, this dude is incapable of doing that. Instead, he holds the conversation hostage with his ramblings about inflation, Biden, Oprah, and James Cameron. And if you start trying to move on and talk about something else, dude sits there not listening and then 3 minutes later hits everyone with the, okay, so basically what I was trying to explain earlier was, like, bro, we already moved on and we're all freaking baked. No one even remembers their last sentence. How you gonna start expanding on your thoughts from ages ago like the MCU or something? Worst part is, however much you try to politely show him to stop ranting, he never gets the signs and just keeps doing it. Best thing you can do is just not invite him to the sesh, and you don't have to feel like a dick about it either, cause I'm 100% sure he understands the signs, but just ignores him cause he thinks his thoughts are more important than whatever the group wants to talk about. But the next dude on the list has a bit of a different problem, and he is Mr. I'm bored, I wanna do something. Oh snap, the guy who is somehow always bored and wants to do something. Now, don't get me wrong, I love high adventures and I'm always down to go on one, but only if there's actually something cool in mind. Yeah, this is something this dude and me don't have in common, cause this mofo just spams the sentence, I'm bored, let's go somewhere. Like, bro, where somewhere? Say where. My man just assumes anywhere is better than where he is, and honestly, that gets annoying fast, cause it makes you all self-conscious about if you're bored or not. And honestly, a lot of times you might be, but that's just life. The grass ain't a freaking happy pill. Sometimes you're gonna smoke up and still feel bored. But how is that gonna change if we go outside? It's not like we living in Skyrim, bro. However sad it may be, you ain't finna open the door and see a mysterious bearded man waiting for you with a scroll in his hand saying, Adventurer, we need you. But hey, out of everybody on the list, I think this guy is the least bad, cause a lot of times the Zom makes mofos lazy AF, so it is good to have someone who can push the group into doing stuff. Just sometimes my man needs to chill out. Talking about, let's go to McDonald's, let's go to Burger King, let's go, shh. Let's just shut the fuck up, okay? Although sometimes dude actually does have something in mind, which turns out to be pretty fun. So there ain't nothing bad with wanting to do something cool, just you don't have to parade the fact you're bored all the time, cause just by saying that, everybody is gonna feel like that even more.
You know, back in the day, if you wanted to get high discreetly, sorry bro, there was no way. I mean, you got the J, which stanks up everything. You got the bong, which although doesn't stank as much, where you gonna hide it? Imagine trying to sneak by your parents on some... What you doing dropping shit at a time like this, boy? Downstairs, I came down, I wanted a glass of water, yeah. Boy, you must be neurologically disabled if you think that'll excuse you from breaking some dusty-ass dollar store piece and spilling bong water all over my goddamn living room. No, it's... Here, take a smack of this shit. It'll get you proper, boy. Well, that sounds like a pretty fun... Anyway, point is, you're not gonna be hiding that shit for long. Only real option you had was the pipe. But bro, at that point, you sacrificing everything you got for one high. Like, I swear, the pipe is the last way anybody in their right mind wants to get faded. Every time I hit it, it's like my lungs and throat revert back to factory settings. Like I ain't never inhaled anything besides O2 before. Basically, by smacking the pipe, you're hurting your lungs and throat to the point it kind of fucks up the first 30 minutes of your high. And that's exactly why when the first Benjamin was invented by the scientists at Yodiland, it changed the game, bruh. Never before could you get obliterated on the go regardless of where you were or what you were doing. And thanks to that, getting high has become so damn easy, you got motherfuckers making obliteration their normal state. Never before could someone do anything even remotely sus and you could just assume they were fucking high. My man had sunglasses on for no reason, faded. Dude was staring somewhere for a bit too long, obliterated. Dude went to White Castle for a culinary experience. Well, that motherfucker's just weird. Goddamn cafeteria food. And you can forget about gas stations and fast food places. I mean, at this point, it's like damn near mandatory to be blasted on the job. And I got nothing against that, just since 90% of the time I find myself at 7-Eleven, I'm fried too. And the motherfucker that's supposed to be helping me is trying to scan my items with his damn iPhone. Nah, but for real, the pace that these fried motherfuckers work at is fine when your brain is running at the same low frequency, but if you're in a rush, it'll take damn near every ounce of mental strength you got to stop yourself from forcing a damn self-checkout.
Would you like a bag with that, sir?
Fuck no, here's the money, just give me my shit. But don't get me wrong, I got nothing against a good old Benjamin. There really ain't a better on-the-go, fast and easy way to get faded. Unfortunately, I didn't go to college and kinda cheated my way through high school too, so the 15 or so brain cells I was able to develop that keep me from losing and forgetting shit turned into, well, basically zero. And for that reason, I've already lost 2 of them. One of them slipped out my pocket while I was at the movies, and I'm pretty sure some teenagers stole it, cause after the film, when I was looking for it with my flashlight and shit, these motherfuckers were giggling in the back, looking at me like I was a damn circus clown. Coupled with the fact I was fried as fuck, I was fighting my tears, dog. I just got robbed by some damn teens, and I can't even do shit, cause it was illegal to even bring it in there. Second one I lost in a very similar manner. As I was getting out my Uber going back home, my sweatpants did me dirty and flinged that fucker out as I was standing up. Took me 2 minutes to realize, and when I did, my Uber driver was probably already hitting that shit, cause when I called him back to ask for it, he said,
Let me check. It seems that you only left me a $1 tip. Sorry, I couldn't find it.
And that one hurt the most because that was the first pen I ever had and the one I used for my first Benjamin adventure, which my first time was, well, by far the highest I have ever been in my life. I'm talking freaky, I'm talking third person. Shit, it was the first time in years I truly greened the thaw out. For you see, normal weed or bud is just that, normal. So the strength of it is confined in the realms of reality, unless you know it, it's moon rock. Anyway, the biggest difference between smacking a pen versus, let's say, a J is that the pen doesn't have normal bud in it. It has concentrate, which if you're unaware like I was, is about 10 to 20 times stronger than bud. Knowing that, the best way to get faded off the pen is by just taking small rips to avoid getting sent into the goddamn shadow realm. For example, the YouTuber Damien Luck 925 is very well known for taking multiple blinkers, which is the biggest hit you can take, outside in social situations, most notably in random classrooms, like it's nothing. So me being at my USA Airbnb alone in the confines of my living room, thought to myself, okay, so it looks like the basic hit I should do at least is 1 blinker, but probably more. Yet what was waiting for me on the other side of Blinker City was something I was not prepared for. Something unholy. The voices. I'll never forget the horrible things they were whispering. They made me almost delete my YouTube channel. Anyway, it started with me ordering a 1-gram pen off of Weed Amazon, and it arrived the very next day in a beat-up Cadillac with a delivery man who, from the looks of it, tests out every product he delivers just, you know, to make sure the quality is there. Yo, bro, you're here for the Wii, right? You got the cash? Yeah, I ordered through your website, though. It should be paid for already. Yeah, I forgot I'd take online orders now, too. Anyway, here's the stuff, bro. I trust you. Hey, thanks, bro. Have a good one. You too, man.
Hello Hello, Mr. Bro. We got a delivery for you from Weed Amazon that should be arriving in an hour or so. Will you be home then?
Wait, didn't I just...
I'm a gorilla in a fucking scoop. Gonna pull up to the zoo.
Oh, I better get out of here. So I went back to the crib, Benjamin in hand, and prepared myself to get faded. And obviously, I went for a blinker my very first hit. But since I had never smacked the pen before, I inhaled it for about 4 seconds and stopped because it was so light on my throat, I thought it wasn't working, but it actually was. And from that 4-second puff, I was already quite bamboozled. But since I have this weird rule of every time I get new stuff, I break it in by doing a massive hit, I thought, well, fuck. I was supposed to do a blinker, and went for it again. I inhaled and inhaled for a good 8 to 10 seconds, but the thing just wouldn't fucking blink. It got to the point where there was tears coming from my eyes and my throat was begging me to stop, and it ended up like... I had made a grave mistake. I was so fucking high, I felt my soul leave my body. I was so high, I forgot I was even high. But it was just the beginning, cause over the next 10 minutes, I just kept on getting more faded, and the demons in my head kept on getting louder and louder. But if you know me, I kinda refused to green out, so I just kept on doing random shit like reading the ingredients list off my bag of M&Ms, reading the comments on my videos.
Change at Dark Blue. Do things has changed career. Imagine how being another YouTuber.
Kill yourself. Was not doing good. I was keeping a strong facade, but inside there was a war going on. I was feeling like Naruto with the Nine Tails, only instead of an all-powerful destructive force talking to me, I was just really fucking high. Anyway, so yeah, I was grading out, which hadn't happened to me in years, and I concluded that because the voice of reason was completely being outspoken by the voice of tweaking. The good news is though, the hype from the Benjamin doesn't last too long, and in about 1 to 2 hours, I had started coming down, but at that point, I was already crawled up in my bed, scrolling endlessly on my phone, until I finally reached a state where I felt good enough to come out of emergency mode and order some food and ate myself into a food coma. So I learned, well, firstly, that motherfucker Fulcrum is actually insane, or his tolerance is just something else, bro, and that the Benjamin is best enjoyed in puffs of 3 to 5 seconds and not blinkers. The 5 levels of being high. Now, I bet you've seen a couple videos on this topic, maybe even mine, but since almost a year has passed and my knowledge and understanding of the magic green plant has grown tremendously, I thought it's about time to make the ultimate, definitive, most precise levels of high tier list on planet Earth. And to make it even more fun, for every level, I'ma be getting more high to give an accurate representation of what the level feels and sounds like. So let's get it started with level 1. Microdosed. This is the level where you don't really feel anything per se, but you can tell something is different. You have a slight mood boost and your body might feel a bit more elevated. So like if your legs were sore, they'd probably be more sore now, but if you're lying on your bed, well, its comfortability is probably up about by 10 to 15%. Nothing crazy, but it is noticeable. This, however, isn't enough to give you the giggles, so that Amy Schumer comedy special will still leave you wondering if my vagina is actually comedy or just poorly done slapstick humor. And since I'm currently at this level, I can tell you it also has no negative side effects, so I can still do everything without worrying if I'm too high. Anyway, let's move on to the first exciting level, and that is level 2. I'm feeling it. So you're feeling it, eh? Well, me too. This is the level where that Amy Schumer special might actually forcefully steal a giggle or two from you, but not because it's actually funny, it's more like you're laughing at her rather than with her. Anyway, since you're now feeling it, you also might be feeling that movie a bit more, or that video game. Shit, you might be feeling your own jokes a bit more. Got you laughing at your own thoughts, fool. This is also the optimal high if you still got stuff to do. Well, to be honest, if you got stuff to do, probably better to not be high, but at this level, it's still definitely doable, just a bit more difficult. Another way to look at it is, this is the high the workers at Subway are usually on. Although I have seen mofos way beyond this there too, but for the most part, this is optimal cause the loud hasn't got you moving slow-mo quite yet. As for me, I'm still able to read this script and pronounce my words just fine, so you probably can't even tell I'm high right now. But now it's time to get to the first level where a mofo can feel too high if he's not experienced. Level 3. Yeah, I'm pretty high. So here we are, pretty high. This is the point where, at least for me, doing anything besides leisurely activities is hard. Not impossible, nor undoable, but hard. If we take that Amy Schumer comedy special for reference again, as for some reason I like doing, it might just maybe have become funny, but you also realize you just high, so you turn it off and watch something else. Also, this is the first level where some thoughts might have become uncontrollable in the senses you just can't help but dive deeper into the fact that the bomb dropped on Hiroshima was almost 1,600 times less powerful than the Tsar bomb created and detonated by the Soviets in 1961 as a show of power to the US. But then you find out there's something called an antimatter bomb which could be even more destructive, but it's only a theory. But then maybe the US is developing it in Area 51 or something. Yeah, I think you get the point. But there is one sensation that is more powerful than your random thoughts, and that of course is the munchies. Coupled with the fact you're probably rocking some dry mouth right now, this in my opinion is the best level to be at if you're trying to stuff your face with enough trans fats to feed 50 hungry children. But you know, you already ate it also. Anyway, moving on to level 4. Faded beyond belief. This is the point where if you're not in a safe space, you kinda screwed. Well, not always, but at this level, it's become almost impossible to practice rational thinking. I mean, if you were diving deeper into that nuclear bomb stuff at the previous level, then this is a point where you might start actually believing you are Oppenheimer himself. This stage is really not the best if you're looking to focus on a movie or video game or really anything because, well, your attention span is at the mercy of the Za, and to actually enjoy this high, you just gotta go with the flow. As for me, it's getting pretty hard to read the script. If I look at the words for long enough, they kinda look like some ancient Chinese hieroglyphs. But anyway, if you're an actual lunatic, maniac, psychopath, Zaza destroyer, and considering hitting that gravity one more time, then be prepared for level 5. Shadow Realm. I told you, bro, you gotta be a maniac to get to this level because the plane of existence you on now is so different from being non-high, you probably feeling and looking like a goddamn alien. I mean, bro, your eyes are so red and you feel so disconnected from your body that if you look in the mirror, you'll probably think, bro, is that really me? I'm so fucked up. Wait. Ah, shit, I'm in the Shadow Realm again, aren't I? And now that you realize you're in the Shadow Realm, you either stop the trip by going to sleep or level unknown, exploring the Shadow Realm. This level doesn't require smoking more. All it really requires you to do is just go outside and explore the world that in many ways has become the upside down from Stranger Things. Cause at this level, rational thinking has been completely thrown out the window and your brain has reverted to factory settings as of when you were just born. So if you see a streetlight flickering, for example, if you were normal, you just think, they really should fix that. Compared to now, oh shit, bro, this is totally one of those slasher scenes where once I walk over the streetlight, he's gonna shift me up, isn't he? Nah, man, fuck this, I'm out of here. At least, I don't know, that's how it feels to me when I achieve the pinnacle of high and am wandering the world outside. Types of plugs you will encounter. This topic is very near and dear to my heart, because unfortunately to this day, I still have to rely on these guys for my Zaza. So you can imagine after years of experience of buying from tens of different plugs, I'm quite certain I have dealt with every kind there is, from the most vicious acting as gangsta as humanly possible thugs, to the high school dudes who just want to fund their Zaza addiction by selling it. And I think it's appropriate to start off with the type of plug I bought from my very first time. And he was the friend who knows a guy who knows a guy who has that exotic. This one isn't really officially a plug per se, but then again, I'm willing to bet this was how most people first encountered any type of Zaza seller. Every time when you and your friends discussed the grass and wanted to try it, he always said something like, yeah man, if you really want some, I got a few connects and they always sell that exotic. But in reality, dude's connects were usually his older brother or friend who actually knew someone. So for me, the times I did acquire the grass for this man, that shit shit was always some Reggie for real. And not just that, it always had a massive markup, cause who else can you sell oregano mixed mid-za for premium price than a bunch of stupid youngsters? But I can't fault the homie too much, cause back then, man, I swear, you could smell some grass and get faded, so everything seemed exotic, even if it was mostly herbs and spices bought at the discount aisle at Walmart. But even so, I ain't mad, cause that's the nature of business, I guess. If a dude is willing to buy your oregano pack for $30, then so be it. You gotta learn from it and move on. And so I did, and found myself a new plug, who was yeah bro, that's an eighth. It's just like super compact. You know, like a diamond. The dude who always shorts you. A plug like this never has any longevity, cause I mean, after being shorted 1 or 2 times max, however much you crave the za, usually your self-respect won't allow you to go back to mans like... So, you got the eighth? Yeah, of course, dog. I'ma hook you up nicely this time. This some good shit. Nice. Show me the bag real quick, though. Gotcha, big dog. Here it is. Where is it? Oh, wait, hold up, my bad. You need this to see it. Okay. Do you see it now? It's like super compact, you know, like a diamond. Yeah, like a diamond, right? Yeah, okay, but I'm gonna have to skip this one. I don't really even want any za right now. Alright, bro, you're a loss. Get the fuck out of my car.
You don't want no smoke, don't want no jazz.
These the plugs who exclusively sell to stupid kids, cause anybody with any understanding of how 1 gram of za should look like would just tell him to F off and remove him on Snapchat. But this guy also abuses his status of the plug to provoke fear into dudes who don't yet know any better and think these guys are all freaking mafia level gangsters who, if you disagree with them, finna pull a Scarface and take out a M249 and start going bananas. But don't feel too bad if you've fallen for this scam before, cause I have too. In fact, I had a friend who was supposed to get 1 gram, but the plug gave him 0.1, and my man still bought it. Mostly cause he didn't even know how much a gram is supposed to look like, so he just trusted him. Anyway, next type on the list is the complete opposite, and one of my favorites, and he is the always faded plug. This guy could also be called the plug who only sells to fund his copious amount of Zaza consuming on a daily basis. And why he is one of my favorites is for multiple reasons. Firstly, because he is the king of getting high off his own supply, he always has a comment on the stuff you're getting. Secondly, because mans is faded 24/7, he don't really want any confrontation, so he'll probably never short you. In fact, sometimes out of the warmth of his heart, he'll throw some extra in there, depending if he likes you as a customer or not. And lastly, because he has evolved to a point where being high is his normal state, which don't ever get that far. It's not good for your health, and it can and will ruin your life no matter how much you hear Zaza isn't addictive. It can be if you take it too far. But anyway, because of the fact he cannot live without the magic ring plant in his system, in my experience, he has always had a 100% success rate to the text, "Hey yo, you got any?" That meaning, mans is more reliable than a Volvo, mans is more dependable than James Bond, mans is more loyal than a golden retriever, goddamn! The only problem for you, the customer, is he is usually pretty on and off on the plug-in business, because if you can get that addicted to za, it's usually a personality trait, so knowing that, this guy either smokes every day 24/7, or he is completely grass-free. And when he is grass-free, he disappears like the Avatar. So yeah. But now on to the next plug on the list, and he is the plug who should have probably started an actual business instead. This plug is quite rare, and I've only ever met one of these mofos, but oh boy, what a roller coaster ride it was. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was looking for some grass, so I hit up my usual plug, only for him to inform me he is, quote, out of the game, but will give me the Snapchat of a guy who is, quote, new to the game. And so he did, and after writing mans asking for some grass, he told me to meet up near a construction store. And since this was a while ago, I ain't have my license yet, so I ran me an e-scooter and rolled up. And the person who greeted me was none other than Mr. Invisible. Yeah, no, that was like his actual Snapchat username. Anyway, it was the short guy who kinda looked like a goblin, but he seemed quite serious and was the first plug ever to write me afterwards asking, how was the stuff? And after replying, he also gave me a free freaking affiliate program. Not for real. He told me every friend I link him up with, he will give me 20 bucks if they ever buy from him. I ended up not doing that cause it kinda seemed ridiculous. Like, bro, you sell grass, not fucking VPN subscriptions. But over the next 6 months, I would see this man build a Snapchat grass cartel. Dudes was posting stories every day of his illegal activities like he had the cops under his payroll or something. And funniest part was, over the 6 months that I acquired the grass from him, I saw how his $10 camo pants and $15 Shane jacket turned into Gucci pants and an Armani jacket. Like, goddamn! Bro was really trying to be the local Scarface, and dudes even had mofos working for him. Like, sometimes I'd write him and he'd literally reply, "Come here, I'll get an employee to bring it to you." Employee? Bro was acting like he Mr. Krabs, sending SpongeBob to secure the secret formula. But unfortunately, his plugging career ended in about 6 months, where he sent us off with a heartwarming goodbye on his Snapchat story reading, "Greetings, my beloved customers. I am informing you all that I will unfortunately no longer be your plug, as I am moving on. It was great while it lasted, and I wish you all the best. As for the Zaza, I mentioned 3 people in this story who will fill my shoes in this field. Stay cool. Peace out." And the craziest part is, I'm not making any of this up. This dude was a legit comedy movie character, and his personality reflected it. He was like the generic Slav trapper guy who tried his hardest to act as gangsta as humanly possible, and every sentence man said had to have at least 2 curse words. So yeah, although he is the most memorable plug I've ever had, he definitely wasn't my favorite. That spot has to go to the friendly neighborhood plug. The best plug a man can ask for. This would be the dude that lives close to your neighborhood, so you don't have to travel around the whole of Skyrim just to get some za. But if that wasn't enough, this the plug that also, as the name suggests, is friendly and doesn't act all gangsta, nor short you for no reason, nor is high 24/7. He's just a chill, reliable guy. And sometimes he'll even come to you, cause you live in the same neighborhood and he enjoys riding his bike while flipping packs and making racks. And unfortunately, however much this dude is just a normal human being, in the field of plugs, well, he's like a diamond. Very rare. So if you got yourself a plug like this, be thankful for your blessings, cause your next one is probably gonna be the usual local wannabe Pablo Escobar. But hey, plugs usually switch like every 4 months anyway, so don't be discouraged when yours is, well, weird. 10,000 BC, a group of cavemen in the Oki Islands of Japan needed some warmth and wanted to start a fire when they discovered a funny looking green plant, and either out of curiosity or desperation took it and inadvertently created history's first ever hotbox. Yet this early grass was not that loud that people be smoking today, because as we know, over the years the za has been scientifically and artificially cultivated to be much more concentrated in the high it gives. So although it is funny to think about a group of cavemen purposely starting a fire in a small shelter for the sole purpose of getting faded in a hoe, it is unlikely that it actually ever happened. Yet aside from this iffy recreational stint in Japan, hemp was first commonly used in the lands that are modern day Mongolia and China for more practical uses like eating it. Which, after saying that, you might be imagining something like this. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Had any fun with those new seeds I gave you? Yo, nah, I actually came here to give them back. Last night I was looking at the moon and I swear that motherfucker was looking right back at me. But alas, this probably wasn't the reality, because the THC levels in this early cultivated Zaza were just really low. But soon the Chinese would discover that the holy plant's fibers were also great for making stuff too, like clothes, paper, and bowstrings. Which turns out hemp fibers were superior to the bamboo ones used by rivaling factions, allowing the Chinese to shoot their arrows much further. So basically, back in the day, if you were having a long distance bow battle and were losing, you might have screamed out, "We need to get closer! These motherfuckers have weed!" Anyway, it wasn't long after when mofos realized that the loud wasn't only good for making stuff, it was also great for treating physical maladies. And after a couple thousand years, Emperor Shen Nung, known as the father of Chinese medicine, included the magic plant in his medical encyclopedia under the name Ma. Which, that sounds oddly similar to za, doesn't it? I'm guessing every couple thousand years the first letter changes or something. But now, let's explore the question we're all asking. When exactly did mofos start ripping that shit to get faded? Well, one of the earliest counts is about 2,500 years ago, when researchers discovered 10 mini barbecues in a cemetery near modern-day Tajikistan that had residue of burnt cannabis with a much higher concentration of THC than normal, probably meaning it was selectively bred to get you, well, lit. Although this was one of the first counts of people purposely inhaling the broccoli to get high, it was most likely used as part of a ritual to invoke an altered state of mind so you could communicate with spirits. Which shit, dog, I wanna know what these dudes were smoking, cause I ain't never heard of no grass that gets you to the spirit realm. This might have low-key been the last kush Snoop Dogg smoked, cause once you get so high you start communicating with your dead gran-gran, that's when you really might be like, okay, I think it's about time I stop smoking this shit. Since cannabis, for one reason or another, proved to be quite the useful plant, people started trading it around the world as soon as it was domesticated. Which the only people who didn't really fuck with the Zaza were Europeans, who preferred getting hammered instead. Which is low-key reflected in modern times too, especially in the northern countries where once you turn 18, you can drink as much poison as you want, but if you want to blaze, well, you might be looking at a little bit of jail time, my boy. But now, let's quickly go over the uses of cannabis throughout different cultures so we can move on to the modern age, starting with Hindus. They made something called Bang, an edible cannabis paste that had medicinal properties but also got you high. This could be added to a variety of foods and drinks, which this Bang was the preferred food of the Hindu god Shiva, making him in my eyes the god of edibles. Disclaimer, that was a joke. Islam. Here the Za was called hashish and was introduced about 1,000 years ago, which hashish wasn't strictly forbidden in the Quran at first, so a lot of Muslims ate it for its medicinal and relaxation properties. But later, Egypt basically banned it, and also the Quran was revisited by many and reinterpreted to include hashish to be banned just like alcohol. The Vikings. These dudes basically used the Za to make rope, sailcloth, and other things, but also for its medicinal properties, mostly to relieve pain, and to date, there's no hard evidence that they consumed it for its recreational use, but you know, maybe they should have, because they were quite the horrendous savages and murderers, so it might have made them think a little bit about peace and love. But what about America, England, and the actual global world powers? How did they react to weed? Well, again, like the Chinese, Europeans and Americans at first prominently used the magic green plant in the 16th to 18th century for more practical things like making sailcloth and rope, which the plant itself grew much larger in the New World soil, and combined with the practicality of it, everything started being hemp-derived. Clothes, paper, well, basically anything that required fibers. But the question still remains, when did mofos start smoking that shit to get blasted on the regular? Cause although at some point you, your neighbor, your grandma, your boss, and even George Washington were out here growing weed, wasn't nobody out here rolling them up. Well, until the arrival of Mexicans. The loud version of hemp first arrived in Brazil in the early 1500s by way of enslaved Africans traveling with the Portuguese. And the native South Americans, who are already consuming some other psychoactive substances, quickly started blazing the Zaza too, and its use soon spread across South America and into Mexico, from which in the 1910s is when the loud first spread into the US, via Mexican immigrants escaping the effects of the Mexican Revolution. And almost immediately the good was viewed as a threat, and by 1931, 29 states had banned its use. Although it wasn't really the Zaza that the US didn't fall with, it was unfortunately mostly just racism against Mexican Americans and black citizens of the South, which both these groups were enjoyers of the Za to some regard, so it became a scapegoat for racial bias in the US, and they blamed it for everything from petty crimes all the way to murder. And in 1937, the US completely banned all non-medical use of weed, which all this kind of explains why the mostly peaceful plant has been thrown in the same Schedule 1 category with full-on life-destroying substances like heroin and cocaine. But thankfully, a couple decades later came the hippie movement of the 1960s to 1970s. This is what lightly sparked the comeback for weed, cause unlike before, when the Zaza was mostly smoked by Mexican immigrants and black citizens who the US was massively racist against, the hippie movement had middle-class white American youth start blazing too. Which it was all about love, peace, spirituality, non-violence, and of course, every hippie's favorite, recreational drug use. Although most hippies were all about peace and love, that was quite easy to say when most of them were literally privileged enough to drop out of college, run off with Cassandra in a rainbow van, go on copious amounts of mindset-altering trips, mostly powered by LSD, and then return 10 years later to their parents and have them say,
"It's okay, son. I was young and stupid once too."
Anyway, although the grass was still federally illegal, this didn't really do much, cause in 1976, 1 in 8 Americans over the age of 12 admitted to smoking it in the past 30 days. Hippies though were especially interested in cannabis, so much so they went on something called the Hippie Trail, which was basically an excursion by the youth of the world to go over to the Middle East and India, all while riding in magic buses and discovering new ways to get absolutely blasted, such as smoking the concentrated Zaza resin known as hash. But acquiring the Zaza would soon get much harder, because you see, most of it came from Mexico, so in 1969 the US started patrolling the border, and in 1975 they got even more aggressive and started spraying herbicide on Mexican wheat plants. And so good old supply and demand made grass prices skyrocket, which a lot of people started then growing the plant themselves in mini greenhouses, closets, bathtubs, storage units, basements, wherever they could. But then in 1982, Mr. Smarty Pants Ronald Reagan took it even a step further by encouraging the streamlined arrest of anyone in possession of an illegal substance, which was really dumb because most of the focus was on pot, all while crack, meth, and heroin were all still being transported and consumed on a regular basis. Even worse, this enforcement seemed to be racially motivated because despite plenty of traffickers and consumers being white, the majority of arrests were Latino and black youths, all while this bizarre over-focus on cannabis allowed the growing opioid epidemic to go unchecked. But thankfully, the US is slowly learning from their mistakes, where today 24 states have legalized the recreational use of marijuana. On top of that, the increased level of research on it has also found multiple medical use cases and can be prescribed to you by special doctors if seen fit. And although the Zaza is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, the overall perception of it has changed for the better, including in December 2022 when President Biden signed a bill to make it easier for researchers to obtain plants for their studies, which will hopefully accelerate the learning of positive and negative side effects of consuming the Za even further. But all that aside, the overall vibe towards the loud has gotten a lot more accepting, and these days more and more people view the smoking of the grass not as you being a junkie, but the same way as having a couple beers with the homies on a Friday night and watching some WWE. Man, smoking too much is such an awkward thing, especially because of how normalized getting faded has become. Nobody wants to be the guy who kills the vibe by admitting they graining the thaw out. Like, dudes be knowing they approaching their limit, but peer pressure is a bitch. Like this one time in school when we were smacking the paper planejamin on lunch break, and I could tell everybody was nearing the border between Yodiland and the Upside Down, but this motherfucker Salamander just kept on passing the J, and nobody wanted to be the first one to back out. Everyone kept on puffing and puffing until this one motherfucker just started puking. Like, goddamn. Safe to say, dude probably hasn't smoked again till this day. But you know, that was high school. Most kids weren't on that Wiz Khalifa pack like Salamander. I mean, this dude's parents were barely home, so mans must have just been low-key looking for attention by acting out, but instead all he got was Snoop Dogg's tolerance and all the school thotties daily driving his dick. Some of you might not even know what it feels like when you smoke too much though. Shit, I know I didn't. My dumbass always just concluded that the stuff was laced, which looking back at it now makes me feel like a dinglebop for real. I mean, how you gonna smoke way more than you usually do in a situation you're not super comfortable in and then blame it on the weed? It's like a drunk driver suing an alcohol brand for making him unable to drive straight. Shit, it's like going to the store and buying too much food and then blaming the cashier for not stopping you. Like, bro, it's not on Jimmy the Plug God. Dude is probably smoking the same stuff as we speak. And yeah, I know sometimes it could actually be laced, but what does telling yourself that help? Like, wouldn't it be better to believe it's not and your brain is just tweaking? Then you could maybe, you know, calm yourself down. Unlike when you've convinced yourself the Plug is a fucking supervillain going around giving his customers schizophrenia. Like, goddamn son, someone's gotta like the bat signal for real. But shit, I'm out here preaching like I ain't done this myself. Back when I was younger, I did green out a couple times, but since then, I have developed rules I follow to avoid this at all costs. Like, for example, first rule, you don't always gotta get obliviated, bruh. Seems simple enough, right? But back in the day, every time we were smoking, my dumbass felt like I had to get higher than last time. Once the J reached me, I just...
Thanks, bro. You guys got another one? Bro. No.
There's just some basic etiquette too, like everybody wanna get faded equally, but one thing with smokers is they're usually always chill and peaceful, so when you start hogging a spliff, rarely is somebody gonna forcefully take that shit from you. Just next time when you pull up, they'll bag your ass, pistol whip you, throw you in the trunk, and bury you alive next to Mr. Beast. That video would probably have to be on Rumble though. But point is, you don't always gotta be the highest in the room. Second rule. Accept your limits. This is low-key the most important and the most difficult, but you might be thinking something like, don't you mean know your limits? No, I don't, bro. Cause I bet most y'all know them just when you be watching Fulcrum smacking the Benjamin like that bitch be only containing O2, you get a false understanding on how much mofos be actually smoking. Cause you can always do more, but what you can't do is forcefully remove the THC from your system and get less high. So don't be a victim of peer pressure just cause you wanna be cool, fool. But these rules don't mean shit if you don't factor in where you are and what you're doing. Which leads me to the day that made me come up with these rules. The time in my young life when I smoked so much in the wrong place, I was goddamn obliviated. Shit, I smoked so much I had less dialogue options than an Oblivion NPC. The first time I got high outside the comfort of me or a friend's crib. It was the usual business. We were chilling with the gremlins, me, Salamander, and Ricky, smoking up, talking about how we don't fall with school and how we finna make it out the hood. You know, the usual Gen Z shit. When Salamander, being the thotty magnet he was, got a text from one of his female companions inviting to what this motherfucker claimed to be a chill hangout spot. Although I do trust the homies, knowing Salamander's track record, I was a bit sus, cause I seen the places this dude hangs out at. I be waking up at the middle of the night to take a piss, then check the snap only to see dudes partying at some straight up trap house bugging off fucking ketamine. Okay, can't say that on YouTube, but let's just say it wasn't weed. Anyway, you know the drill. I don't wanna go, Salamander uses his 99 speech, convinces Ricky, now it's a 2v1, and I fold. Epic victory royale. But I agreed only under the condition that none of us drink nor do anything else but smoke the Lords loud, because it was a motherfucking Thursday after all, so I wasn't trying to pull up to school smelling like a bum, acting like a depressed middle-aged man from The Hangover. Looking back at it though, that was probably the wrong call, cause, well, you'll see. So we're walking to the crib and Salamander lights up this comically big J that he rolled back at his place with a week's supply. While we're almost finished puffing and on the edge of obliviation, I see this super dope house that seems to be having a party, so I excitedly asked Salamander, "Yo, is that the spot?" Bro, okay, that place does seem pretty dope. Oh yeah, that's the spot. Glad you fought with it. Some people are kinda put off by it from the initial appearance. Anyway, let's just go in. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You first though. Where are you going? What do you mean? The crib, bro. Leave it to Salamander to have you walk through an amazing street filled with beautiful houses and lead you to the only one that looks like Shrek's vacation home. To add to it, me and Ricky were quite frankly bugging. But as I mentioned in the previous rules, that's not always a good thing, especially when you're preparing to go into a house where your brain has calculated a 50-50 chance of being stabbed in the gut by a freaking tweaker with a kitchen knife. In my head, I was thinking, well, hoping for the saying, don't judge a book by its cover to be the case here. But oh boy, I should have judged the goddamn book by its cover and dashed off like Prime Usain Bolt. Cause what we were dealing with was in every sense of the word except not containing any of the actual substance, I think, a crack house. These people were blasting some of the most disgusting music I've ever heard. Shit sounding like the noise a speaker makes when you fiddle with the aux cord. And because I was high, that set the whole tone of my experience there. And shit, I did not know Salamander hanged out with vampires. Most of the dudes there were looking what you would imagine the local bum to be when he was young. I was in total shock. My teenage brain could not comprehend the degeneracy, the idiocy, the overall lack of humanity in that house. And it's not like I didn't try to have fun, but our highness did not mix with whatever the fuck these guys were on. At some point, I saw him pull out a vodka bottle, and they drank the whole thing in 5 minutes dry, straight from the bottle, like they were trying to speedrun liver failure. I attempted to conversate with some of them, but to no avail. I mean, what did I expect though? A drunk person usually isn't on the same wavelength as a high person, combined with the fact these dudes probably just got done sacrificing a goat to bring forth the Antichrist. I was starting to tweak the fuck out. Well, not tweak, I guess. Me and Ricky did have some fun by just bantering about how messed up of a place we had found ourselves in. All of this didn't seem to affect Salamander though, as we spotted him rizzing up a girl we assumed was the one that invited him, but we were wrong in that assessment because 5 minutes later the girl who actually invited him saw it, went up to him, yelled at him, and then slapped that man so hard it made him rethink his whole damn life. Cause as we were laughing at what had happened, he walked straight towards us and said, "Man, you guys want to do some ketamine?" Nah, he actually told us that this was probably a bad idea and that he's ready to leave if we are. Good thing too, cause if that girl hadn't slapped some sense into him, Salamander might have gone on to do the thing I mentioned like 3 times in this video. So anyway, we went back home at like 2 AM or something, put on some WWE on the TV, prepared to gleep, and got obliviated. Doesn't go much further than that.
Shout out to Volcro.
Getting high in school was always memorable, because you knew at any moment things could go south. But that's what made it awesome, always on the edge of your seat, mentally and physically. A couple years ago in high school, me and some friends decided to smoke up before the easiest and chillest class there was. Art class. And the way our schedule was, that day we were supposed to be in that class from 10 to 12:30, so we figured it was a golden opportunity to smoke up without any paranoia. Cause man, I swear that teacher was a bot. He gave 0 fucks about everything and everyone, meaning you could do whatever you want as long as your test results were aight. And you know your boy was rocking straight A's. Well, maybe not A's, but like, shit, 50% or more on every test. Usually it was exactly 50%, but that's besides the point, fool. For context, so you understand how chill this class really was, it was a normal occurrence for students to literally order food in the middle of class and then be like, "Hey, Mr. Cranberry, can I go to the bathroom real quick?" "Yeah, sure, but just be back before, I don't know, whatever, just come back." Then bang, man walks back into class, 2 pizzas in one hand and a grocery bag in the other. Goes to his seat, and mind, the way this class was built, it was like 3 times 3 tables and chairs, so I'm just watching as these dudes are having a full 2-course dinner with dessert in the middle of class, and my man Mr. Cranberry just doesn't give a fuck whatsoever. Now that you understand what we are dealing with, we can move on to the smoke sesh. So first period is over, we have 20 minutes to get soink, and that is just what we do. Pretty much all 4 of us, me, Salamander, Branko, and Tommy, had financed this fine Zaza, and Salamander, as the most experienced of the group, was charged with the sacred job of rolling the spliff. We get to our smoke spot, and this man Salamander pulls out the most cartoonishly perfect joint I have ever seen. My man must have been up all night making blueprints, researching, testing rolling papers to finally bring this Mona Lisa of spliffs into existence. And it's right there in front of us, waiting to be consumed. And that's exactly what we did. We had bought an entire gram, and even though there was 4 of us, we were still complete noobs. I mean, Salamander had smoked like 5 times before, so 0.25 grams each, even though I didn't know it at the time, was a lot for us. Anyway, we all get absolutely wasted off this one big ass spliff, and not gonna lie, all that tough guy, "Nah man, I ain't scared, I've smoked before," vanished instantly. We were a bunch of tweakers. "Hey dudes, I don't know if I can do this. I feel like I'm in 3rd person right now and it's freaking me out." But our boy Salamander was the only one of us to stay even a little calm. Not gonna lie, I'm low-key tweaking right now too. But all we gotta do is get to the classroom. Mr. Cranberry is literally a bot. We know this. Get to the class and it's smooth sailing from there. We can play Call of Duty Mobile or some shit on our phones the entire time. Doesn't that sound cool as fuck? Yeah, man, you're right. Of course I am, fool. Now, we got 10 minutes left. Let's go secure some munch and hop in the safe zone, my dudes. We do a quick 5-minute grocery run, buy an M&M, sparkling water, chips, all the necessities. And after securing that munch, we go to our class. But what awaits us is not what we had hoped for. Mr. Cranberry, our main man, was still there, but there was something else that got us tweaking. The principal of the school was doing one of those checkup things, so she was sitting in the back of the class observing the entire lesson. We were walking to our seats when she was like,
"Hey yo, where the fuck y'all going?"
Nah, she ain't say that, but she said something like, "Hey boys, you look really tired. Your eyes are like really baggy as well. What have you been doing? Were you up all night?"
Shit, what do we say? I don't know. I think she suspects us. Man, I'm gonna go to jail. I don't wanna, Mama. I don't wanna.
When out of nowhere, "Yes, Miss Crumblebottom, you got us. We stayed up all night studying for today's chemistry tests. We know we should have studied a little bit every day instead of cramming it all into one night, but you know us, Miss Crumblebottom. We're a bunch of procrastinators." What the fuck? This man Salamander turned into James Bond. Man was smoother than Michael Jackson, with the English vocabulary as his weapon and the combined will of all 4 of us soinked musketeers. He somehow talked us out of that situation with Miss Crumblebottom, thinking better of us. She giggled and was like, Oh, you boys. Can't be mad at you for studying now, can I? Just get to your seats and don't let this chemistry test distract you from the lesson at hand. Yes, Miss Crumblebottom, we won't. Bro, you're a fucking wizard. If it wasn't for the MVP Salamander, we'd all be on the floor having a panic attack right now. But there's still more to do. Because of the principal, our boy Mr. Cranberry is sweating his balls off trying to act like a serious teacher. Mans gave us a worksheet. A goddamn worksheet. In all my 1.5 years of this teacher's class, I ain't never gotten no worksheet. In 20 minutes, we'll start reading the answers out loud, starting from that table there. Ah, shit. We're baked out of our minds, and now we gotta fill this damn worksheet and read it out loud. Things ain't looking good, but we come up with a plan. We was gonna split the work, so each of us had to answer just 2 questions instead of 8. So 20 minutes goes by, and the time comes to say our answers out loud. Cubism is an art form originally derived from, The Crisis of the Decepticons and Optimus Prime. Mr. Bro, is this a joke? That answer makes no sense. I'm sorry, Mr. Cranberry. I must have answered the wrong questions. Okay. Everybody at your table has the wrong answers then? I believe so. I think so. Okay, let's move on to the next table then. We were able to act normal enough for the first part of this lesson, and once the bell rang, we bolted out the room to have an emergency meeting. Boys, what do we do? I don't know, man. Should we just go home? Nah, the principal there. We can't just go home. Okay. All we gotta do is survive for one more period and we're good. We did it once already. We can do it again. You're right, bro. Let's do this. Then bang! We walked in the classroom with the confidence of our top G Salamander, and Miss Crumblebottom was nowhere to be seen. So we asked the students in the class, and they said that she had left to observe another class. We were back in heaven. Mr. Cranberry was as chill as a sloth again, and we had an entire period of fun ahead of us. We ended up playing Call of Duty Mobile and munching on our snacks the entire time, and it was fun as fuck, especially because we really felt like we had gone through a war, and that we deserved this leisure time. Once the lesson ended, we were feeling a lot less high as well, so we weren't tweaking at all about our next classes. Ended up finishing the day, going home, and nobody suspected a thing.
Mushrooms are a lot like that one friend who is always talking and it kind of annoys you, but at the same time you love him cause you know he's always keeping it real with you. So if you are fiending for a third eye awakening on some Dragon Ball Super shit, you better be ready for the Shroomy Shrooms to take you through the depths of your unconscious, where it will dig out and highlight questions about your very fabric of existence, like, who am I? Why are we here? Do I like men? But anyway, that doesn't happen the very instant you eat the shrooms. In fact, the stages of a mushroom trip are so different, each one of them could be considered a substance of their own. But the first stage everyone experiences is Stage 1, Ingestion/come up. Right after consuming those Mario power-ups, you might feel your stomach twist and turn a bit, as your body is signaling to you, this shit was not food, wasn't it? But thankfully, it's usually pretty minor and goes away after a few minutes. While waiting for the shrooms to kick, you probably stare at a bunch of random objects hoping to find some type of moving pattern, cause that's what shrooms are supposed to do, right? Well, yeah, kind of, but after 30 minutes goes by and you're still staring at the wall with no sign of visual hallucinations, you probably think to yourself, man, I got scammed, didn't I? But then you start really thinking about it. Are you feeling something? And then you think about the next thing, and the next thing, and then you might laugh at something completely random like this picture of SpongeBob, and boom, you now realize they weren't duds, and you're about to go on a journey, bro. Also, after all this, you probably move on to Stage 2, Questions that lead to more questions. You're at the point now where you know the shroom's kicking, but you don't really see any visuals except for maybe the increased significance of every object, but the main thing is you have started questioning everything you know, but not in a scary way of nothing matters, there is no point. More of a, man, I love hanging out with Charlie. Wait, do I though? What type of person is he actually? He's friendly, but kinda secretive and keeps to himself. What is he keeping to himself? Could he be a totally different person? Am I becoming a better person by hanging out with him? What is going on? So yeah, this stage can be very eye-opening to some, especially if you're the type of person to hang on to problems and worries instead of facing them. Because however hard you try not to think about something, the shrooms won't let you. And although it might seem like that's a bad thing, it's actually not. And you should treat this time of the trip to pinpoint the main questions you would like to receive some type of answers to by the end. Because soon after, you're gonna go to Stage 3. Holy shit! The mushrooms are now almost at full effect, and you're definitely seeing some hallucinations, like moving patterns, disfigured items, wavy hands, etc. But to be honest, that isn't really the main thing, because if you approach this trip with the right mindset, as in you wanted to actually take something with you to the real world afterwards, then currently you are most likely intensely trying to piece together the answers to the questions you highlighted on the previous stage. But it ain't as easy as it seems. It feels like you were constantly on a breakthrough to something really important and significant, but then you lose it and have to start again with the pieces you left off with. But if you stick with it, you'll always figure something out. Maybe not the full picture, but something. Also, you shouldn't blame yourself if you start talking or thinking about something that you feel is very amazing, but then halfway through realize you literally pondering about the implications of the evolution of the Pringles Man logo, bruh. But not to worry, that's the beauty of shrooms. They make you think about everything on a deeper level, and if you can find the correct things to think about through the clutter of Matrix conspiracy theories, you'll still emerge victorious. Speaking about emerging, the next stage is Stage 4. The slow come down. You are now slowly coming down from the shrooms, which is indicated by the fact you don't see as many trippy patterns anymore, but also you're more realistic in your thoughts as well. Also, at this point, you probably aren't bouncing from thought to thought as much anymore and have chosen a definitive couple of things to think about. And with those things, you will find answers, but also a lot of new questions, which can be frustrating, well, until you get to the next and final stage. Stage 5. Journey complete. At this point, you have almost completely came down from the magic, but not really, because although you don't see any hallucinations anymore, you feel more in touch with reality and yourself. The best way I can describe this stage is like it's the fruit of your labor. This is the stage where you've gone through the constant questions and search for answers and come out victorious. Best way I can describe it is like you're high off some Zaza, but with a much clearer head. So this is the perfect time to play some video games, watch a movie, or do really anything you find fun. Edibles, part of the holy trinity when it comes to getting as faded as humanly possible. And the reason they are so potent is that in the act of cooking the za, the THC transforms into something beyond its normal powers and becomes Super Saiyan Za, or 11-hydroxy-THC. But let's stick to Super Saiyan because that other name isn't really cool. Anyway, if you're an OG subscriber, you know my first time doing edibles was quite a crazy experience, but I wouldn't call it anything else than, yeah, I was really freaking high. But this time, the abominations we made were no mere first-timer dose. We threw everything we had in there. The day started like any other, except I had just gotten back from Barcelona the previous night and was a bit tired. But you see, there was this really cool movie in the cinema called Oppenheimer. Anyway, me and Rizix had planned to watch Oppenheimer in the cinema sometime before August, but being us, we obviously wanted to be baked during this time, and well, the movie was 3 hours long, so just a quick hit wasn't gonna cut it. So we decided on something we hadn't done in years, that obviously being edibles. The only problem was, we don't know how to manage time, and well, once we started actually making the things, the movie had already begun. But although I do love Cillian Murphy, let's be honest, the main part of this journey was the edibles, not Oppenheimer. So we were like, screw it, we only gonna miss like the first 30 minutes. Which, if we had actually read some reviews on the movie, we would have known it's not something you go to 30 minutes late while bugging up the Zaza and the world's strongest edible. Yeah, we also, just for safe measures, smoked a bit before too. But anyway, once we made our abominations and the whole house was smelling like Snoop Dogg's beard, we sat down to eat these deep fried to get you deeply fried cookies. Ready? Ready. Bruh, they're so dry, man.
Yeah, so they were awful in the taste department, but in the how messed up they gonna get you apartment, well, you'll find out soon enough. As I said earlier, just for safety, in case they were duds, we also smoked up a bit before, and we're feeling like medium-sized, cold on the kitchen counter pizza rolls, even before the cookies hit. As we arrived in the cinema, we were, well, a little bit scared, but also excited to find out what these monstrous things were going to do to us, because, well, we hadn't done edibles in ages, and knew our tolerance towards them was zero. After buying popcorn and a medium drink, we walked in the cinema, took our seats, and sat down to watch the movie, which had been going on for 40 minutes at that point, but we thought we could still enjoy it, and we did until... Bro, I could not stop laughing, and that's when I knew the edibles had hit. Now, up until this point, I considered myself a man of pure willpower and mental fortitude, and that there's no way some green plant was gonna get me bugging. And for the first 30 minutes after feeling them hit, it was true, until I got the ultimate disability the Za can curse you with. I'm talking, of course, about manual breathing. I was sat in that cinema like a full-on tweaker, and bro, it did not feel good. Like, however hard I tried to destroy the Super Saiyan Saw with my mind, I just couldn't. And RizX was low-key tweaking too. Plus the movie, well, it was kinda shit. And before you roast me in the comments, I think Oppenheimer is a great movie. Just arriving 40 minutes late and bugging off Super Saiyan Za wasn't the best idea for a story-focused film. So, we decided to get the fuck out of there. And bro, I don't even know how to describe what I felt and saw once we opened the gates to the outside world. Bro, I was feeling like my senses were turned up to 10,000% overdrive, and bruh, I'ma be honest, I was not seeing straight. So although we drove to the cinema, we were in no shape to drive back, so we just started paddling our demon eyes looking butts home. Until at some point, we found some e-scooters, so we rented those and just started blasting away. And what an amazing time that was. Like, every switch of scenery felt like a brand new biome. Like, at some point, we took a little detour through a park, and bro, we felt like we was in a damn jungle. Like, even the slight rumble and turbulence we got from the road made it feel like we were true explorers on not e-scooters, but one of those safari exploring buggies riding through unexplored wildland. But anyway, once we got back home, I decided to look in the mirror to see if I looked as high as I felt, and well, I looked more high. Like, I didn't even know your eyes can get that red, but there they were, looking like the eyes of the damn devil himself. Speaking of getting high AF, we doing a smoke sesh on the Discord on Sunday, where it's mine and your job to get absolutely bedazzled and just chill the fuck out. Anyway, link for the disc will be in the pinned comment, so make sure you join and pull up on the sesh. Anyway, back to me looking in the mirror. As I looked in the mirror and saw nothing but an empty vessel wandering the wrong plane of existence staring back, I got a bit frightened, cause man, I swear, my reflection was not moving in sync with me yet again. But this time, it was even worse, cause I was like 4 times higher than I was when I first did edibles. So what happened next, you might be wondering? I was bugging out, looking like an uncooked steak, and I couldn't focus on anything longer than 1 second. Well, I went to sleep. Cause one good thing I will say about the trip, the comfortability I felt in my bed was unlike anything I've ever felt before. My blanket was just a perfect temperature, my mattress the perfect fit, and my pillow the perfect place to lay your head. And because of that, and I'm not exaggerating on this, the very second I closed my eyes, I was asleep. Well, not like deep sleep, but nap sleep. Anyway, after closing my eyes, in about 3 minutes, I was completely knocked out. And well, I slept so much like a baby, I actually believe the Za manipulated my very core and reverted my cells and body shape to that of when I was 3 months old, to enable me to get the full experience of sleeping like a baby. Only problem was though, as I woke up like literally 10 hours later, I was still high AF. Not like can't see straight high, but like just hit the BONG high. To be honest, I was just amazed, cause I knew if we had smoked that amount of Za we put in the cookies, we might have been really lit, but nothing like we were from the cookies. And after that day, I have now learned my lesson that actual strong edibles are more comparable to mushrooms than normal bud.
Have you ever met someone who parades the fact that he loves the Zaza, and if you ever say anything bad about it, he gets all defensive and starts frantically arguing about how it's good for you? Like, yeah bro, there are health benefits, but if you're out here doing 8 rips, 4 2 edibles, and half a cart every 12 hours, do you really think you're reaping the health benefits of the Za? Mofo beyond about, it helps with my anxiety and depression. Like bro, what are you anxious about? Worried that the pizza delivery guy might be an assassin? Sounds more like paranoia to me. And have you stopped to think that maybe the depression you're feeling could be because all you does is sit around, eat pizzas, smoke grass, and watch Disney Plus? But people like this aren't the majority, and overall, when you meet a fellow grass eater, you can expect him to be just a normal chill dude who uses the Za to enhance his experiences, rather than rely on it for them. So today, I thought I'd go over some of the coolest dudes I've encountered who consume that lettuce, starting with the Za Athlete. This is the guy who's always in the gym grinding to become the ultimate specimen of human movement. The thing that's great about this dude is that although he loves the grass, which is generally considered a lazy substance, he doesn't let that stereotype stop him from enjoying it. Although many of his athlete friends might hold it against him, calling him a crackhead, he knows that it's all about moderation and using the Za to enhance his recovery and free time experiences. But the best part about a dude like this is that you know he is a solid guy that you don't have to worry about leading you down a bad road, cause he is always mindful of where the breaking point between just having a fun time with the homies and
hey bros, wanna do some
is. So if you're friends with this guy, you can be damn sure he won't ever peer pressure you into doing something stupid. In fact, he'll probably be the one who will try to talk you out of something like that. Plus, you know, depending on the athlete, he might make the NBA, so best to stay on his good side if you ever want to blaze up in a LA mansion with Wiz Khalifa and Drake and shit. But on to the next dude on the list, the High Gamer. I'm not sure how you guys feel about video games, but I've always seen the genre as the highest form of at-home entertainment there is. Although it is a lot harder to truly get into a game nowadays, when you do, the peaks of fun are much higher than watching a Netflix show, for example. Although that's just my opinion and yours might obviously be different. So you better believe it when I say I love dudes who enjoy gaming in orbit, because that's something that two Za enjoyers can truly bond over. Now you might be thinking, everybody enjoys playing games, ain't nothing special about it. I'd have to respectfully disagree, because it takes a certain level of power to really sit down well blasted and focused on a video game, cause honestly, most of the time it ends up going something like this. Finally time to play some Elden Ring while blasted. This is about to be crazy fun.
20 minutes later.
Man, screw this, I'm gonna just watch some TikToks. As you can see, it's not that easy, but if you have a friend who's on the same planet as you and you going through the struggle together in a co-op game, it's much easier to get into. So I for one will always have a special place in my heart for dudes who can actually game while blasted, cause honestly, it's not as easy as you might think, especially if the session lasts over 1 hour. But time for the productive and successful Not gonna lie, these dudes are like a rare Pokemon that you might never come across because the requirements to be a dude like this are rather high, but the power he possesses is godly. This is the dude that has his own business or works like a sales job or something, which is a highly social and time-consuming practice. But somehow, this mofo has done all of this while frequently bugging off the Zaza. He's kinda like the Wolf of Wall Street, but instead of doing lines off a lady's you know what I mean. He's out here taking a fat rip and then minutes later closing a massive deal with some company. I met a guy like this only once, and I won't stand here and act like I was not in awe of this man's power. We were all just chilling, faded AF, when this guy got a phone call, and not just any phone call, it was some company he was trying to make a client for the company he worked for. And me being me, all I could think of was, oh shit, dude must be freaking out being that faded, having to deal with something like that. But no, bro calmly told us he'll be back in like 10 minutes, went to the other room and closed the deal, or at least that's what it seemed like. I swear, some people just have a godlike stress tolerance, cause man, I can be out here faded and get a call from my mom to pick up some groceries, and that shit will have me stressing out if it wasn't in my initial plan. I guess what I'm trying to say is, for 95% of people, if you high every day, you're gonna get lazy and content with your position in life. But there are people who can manage to pull off this lifestyle and still be successful, and god damn do I respect that. Although I'd imagine that if they weren't high all the time, they'd be even more successful. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, next guy on the list is the artsy dude. Now, this guy isn't exactly what you're thinking. And yes, I know you're imagining this painter who's always on about, bruh, you just gotta go with the flow. Let yourself be free and you'll find peace. Sorry, but what the fuck does that even mean? Although these guys can be cool, their gimmick gets old pretty quick. The dude I like is more of just a Chad who has a highly functioning imagination. Cause with a guy like this, you always have something to talk about, and they come up with some of the most interesting things. Plus, they're usually not just some hippie dude who enjoys saying shit that makes no sense and expects everybody to think he's deep cause he saw a quote on TikTok and it really resonated with him. He's more of the dude who'll say some master Oogway quote and explain how that funny meme actually says something deep about life, but then ended with, I don't actually know, I might just be too high. And I love that, cause sometimes a mofo is just too high and sees a deeper meaning in something that doesn't have one. But hey, that's just a theory, a high theory. I don't know about you, but when I meet a new person and he or she says that he enjoys getting high, I instantly think to myself, this is the start of a beautiful friendship. Although that can be the case, it's not always, cause even though the excitement of finding a fellow Saw enthusiast is great in a world where some mofos still think it's worse than things like alcohol, sleeping pills, all nicotine and other shit that you can straight up buy from a supermarket, in reality, when you really think about it, it's kinda dumb, cause if it was anything else, would you feel the same? Like if you were at a club and someone said they like drinking, you wouldn't think, oh my god, this guy gets it. Unless, you know, you're an alcoholic, I guess. But anyway, today I made a great list of people I've encountered who smoke the Zaza, but I wouldn't personally enjoy hanging out with. Starting with a well-known one, the dude who makes the grass his whole personality. Nah bruh, I can't stand dudes like this. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a bit of Zaza as much as the next guy, but bro, there's so many other things to talk about and do. The problem with these types of people is that I feel like they've missed the whole point of it all. Cause in my opinion, it's not all about how high you were, it's more about where you were high. Damn, that's deep. Like, I'd rather hang out with a dude who has never been high in his life, but has interesting stories / experiences and doesn't just talk about, yeah bro, I was so damn high last night, I was on planet Venus. Damn, that's crazy. So where were you at? What do you mean? Like, where were you and what were you doing, you know? It must be a crazy story. No, I mean, I was just at home on my bed, you know, eating Doritos and stuff. So you were just high in your room all day? Yeah, I mean, yeah. What a fucking lame story. Don't get me wrong, being high in the comfort of your room is probably the best place to be, but like, I'ma keep it $1.25 with you. I've probably been high in my room 100 times by now, and I don't remember a single thing about any of those nights. To me, this experience is more like being in the hub area of a video game after a long and hard mission during the day, and you don't see mofos talking about what a crazy time they had in the title screen of a video game. It's usually, you know, the game itself. But anyway, on to the next guy on the list, who is the dude who will try to shame you for not wanting to get high. You ever met a mofo like this? These dudes are kinda like the previous one, but one step worse, cause instead of accepting that maybe you have shit to do, they'll call you a lame-o or buzzkill or bitch-ass shit-licking, dick-riding, butt-munching, cock-enjoying, sneako-watching soy boy. And for what? Not wanting to waste a day by doing nothing but watching The Simpsons and eating Twinkies? Like, mofos need to realize, although it is great to watch Simpsons and eat Twinkies all day, doing that for 2-3 days in a row, most dudes will feel straight up bad and sad. If you're a human being living in today's day and age, to succeed in anything, you can't be doing that consistently. It's gotta be a special occasion, celebration, or when you've already completed your goals for the day and deserve a break. But hey, at least they don't shame you for the thing this next guy shames you for. The dude who will make fun of you for smoking less than him. Now, this guy is a lot like the first dude, but with the added minus of he actually thinks for some odd reason that the fact that he has to smoke a whole damn cart to feel high is a flex. Like, sorry bro, but I know dudes who have the exact same mentality and let's just say they ain't end up so good. Like for example, this guy, who thought being high is a damn competitive ladder that needed to be climbed.
You know, like the army, but instead of protecting your country and pursuing peace, it's all about who can smoke the most crack without dying. Like, imagine this same attitude, but instead of Zaza, they'd be doing this with nicotine. Mofo would be 45, working minimum wage in the back of a gas station with a young guy talking about,
"What's that? You still puffing on one cig, boy? I'm puffing on 6 at a time, but don't worry, you'll get there someday."
I don't know if I wanna get there, man. Okay, that's never happened, but I'm just trying to show you how ridiculous this is. And P.S., there's a lot more to life than getting high, and I'm definitely not out here being faded 24/7, cause if I was, you'd probably be seeing one video every 2 months. It's all about finding the balance and having the right reasons for inhaling the za. Ever wonder why some dudes can inhale that freshly cut grass an unholy amount of times with eyes so red you think dude is bleeding internally on some exorcist shit, but when asked, "How you feeling, bro?" they'll respond with something like, or, "Honestly, could go for one more J." Well, the reason for a response like that is due to their grass smoker power, which, contrary to popular belief, isn't all about tolerance. Although that can be an important factor, it isn't everything. So Randy, who's 30 years old and has been on a tea break for 2 years now, but has been consistently inhaling that grass for the entirety of his adult life, will be much less likely to freak out over some stupid shit than, for example, Jimmy here, who's been getting high for 2 months straight every day and claims himself a za god. The reason for that is, Jimmy, although his tolerance is almost maxed out, still can't handle the fade in a situation even remotely out of his comfort zone. All that being said, we all start off on level 1.
Bro, I think it was laced.
Level 1, the good old times where the za was still mysterious and scary. This is the level you're at if you've inhaled that magic spice only a couple times, and only so in the safest, securest, and good vibey situations possible. And honestly, while at this level, you couldn't even imagine doing anything besides eating Doritos and scrolling YouTube shorts whilst blasted, cause you just haven't gotten used to the feeling the green bestows upon you. That being the increase in significance of every thought and action, and because you don't know how to control it, your experiences with weed are mostly in your own head. So when you high, you can't focus on shit. Like really, the only thing that seems to catch your attention for more than 10 seconds is that sweet, sweet flavor on those Sour Patch Kids that you never knew could explode in your mouth like that. Now, depending on if you getting blasted solo or with friends will determine your speed of leveling, cause usually if you with friends, you get used to the za more quickly because you're socializing. Plus, you know, there's always that one guy in the group that likes to mess with the newbies by getting them as high as possible and then being like, "Hey guys, let's go to the gas station." Which might seem whatever, but if it's your first time, you might just have a damn panic attack at that 7-Eleven, cause I swear, everybody is looking at you, and the cashier, he's onto you. Yeah, fuck that guy. Anyway, if you keep on eating grass, you'll move on to level 2. I am the Zaza God. Remember Jimmy, the self-proclaimed Zaza God? Yeah, well, he ain't quite the Za God he believes himself to be. To be honest, he barely a za foot soldier. Cause it's all good and fine if he gets blasted up to Mars in the comfort of his own home, but take that comfort away and you'll most likely find him walking behind the group on his own looking like a lost puppy. And the reason for that is, my man's thought that he's been high so many times he can be high anywhere, which sadly isn't the case. Think of tolerance as the size of your dick. It can be massive, destructive in nature, and uncontrollably powerful. But what does that matter if all you use it for is to jerk off? Same with tolerance, it's situational, so you can be unfazed by the za in the comfort of your own home, but as soon as that comfort is taken away, you a total noob again. Instead of focusing on the size of his T, Jimmy should have been focusing on upping his riz and going out and pulling some quality baddies, if you get what I mean. I'd say going from this level to the next is one of the biggest steps in between levels, cause to confidently say you a za god, you should be able to keep your cool in most public situations, even if everybody is staring at you and every car with a hint of blue is a FBI agent ready to take you away for good. You gotta be chill, like a cucumber. And if you do study the cucumber enough while bugging off the broccoli, you might just advance to level 3, Transformer Optimus Prime.
This level is called Transformer because it's the level where your Zaza adventures completely transform. Instead of only smoking up at the comfort of you or your friend's home, you can now make plans in somewhat chill public areas like fast food places, cinemas, the park, the spa, or really anywhere where you know people will most likely be minding their own business. And because of this newfound power, you probably have also started blazing that green more, which depending on the type of person you are, it could start affecting your everyday tasks and goals negatively because although hard to admit, the Zaza can and will make you a lazy mofo if you let it. But as I said, it all depends on the shape of your character, so if you can control the inherent laziness the Za tries to curse you with and still keep on rolling with your goals without becoming a Dorito munching World of Warcraft playing stay-at-home hobgoblin, at some point you'll move on to Level 4. Yeah, to be honest, I'm high right now. Welcome to the ultimate purgatory and struggle of a consistent Za enjoyer. As I said before, you only advance to this level if you didn't become a Star Wars lore arguing Prime Dumbledore admiring League of Legends playing high stay-at-home goblin. Wait, why are you Star Wars lore all the time? And I love Dumbledore. Ah, well, at least I don't play League of Legends. Anyway, as I was saying, it's quite hard to make it to this level, and even harder to stay here, because nowadays, you are so used to doing stuff while blasted, you could theoretically be in that state 24/7. But the problem is, you also know being high 24/7 is expensive, plus, even if you don't notice, I'd say for 95% of people, it makes them less productive as well. So that's why I call it purgatory, because you're constantly pondering the question, should I maybe do a quick hit before doing this? And although I'd love to say I have the answer to that question, I don't. It all depends on you and your situation. So for example, if I had a job interview, I wouldn't do a quick hit. But then again, I know dudes who say the Za makes them less nervous and stressed, plus more talkative. So for those people, I'd have to say, go ahead I guess. But if one day you find a definitive answer to the question, should I maybe do a quick rip before this? You'll move on to the final and most elusive level there is. Level 5. Za God. You have entered into your own subconscious and from it dug out answers to humanity's biggest questions like, are we alone? Why are we here? Why is an 80-year-old man running for president again? And of course, should I bang that Benjamin a little bit before heading out? And I'm sorry to inform you guys that I do not know much of this level because I have yet to make it this far myself, and I still have no idea why Joe Biden is running for president again. But I can tell you this much. This is the level that completely transcends tolerance, as you really don't even need to worry about that anymore, cause you know your body to the point you always know what amount is the right amount. Also, you have figured out the perfect formula for working hard and following your dreams, whilst also inhaling that Za and being a chill and interesting dude. I think most of us have worked a minimum wage job, and the most easily accessible ones usually involve the flipping of the patty some way or another. Like, I'ma keep it $1.50 with you. If you ain't work at a gas station or fast food place and instead opted for something like a hotel admin or a waitress at a cafe or even a lifeguard, you really got off easy. Cause as a youngster, your parents usually make you work at least once to teach you about hard work and dedication. But if you were out here bathing under the sun and only occasionally waved your finger like, you can't do that cause I might actually have to work then with all due respect, you probably ain't been through the struggles most of us went through. I worked at a gas station for a couple months and that was my first work experience. But to be honest, the gas station and fast food place are pretty much the same cause besides from the gas, it's really a fast food place for when all the good food spots are closed and now you have to settle for the 24/7 microwave gas station grub. But I ain't even gonna cap, I love making food, especially if I don't have to wash the dishes later, and that was the case in the good old gas station. Well, what am I complaining about then? Well, you see, the problem with all minimum wage jobs usually boil down to a misunderstanding between the manager or a person that's been working there for a long time and the guy who's there because his parents made him go or he couldn't find any other job. That's me. Because you see, in this world, some people actually believe that being a manager at some gas station makes you a successful individual with a firm hand whose commands must be obeyed. Or in my case, this bitch
wasn't even the manager. In fact, she was working the same damn position I was. That being, do everything you're told and I'll pay you $10 an hour. Which really should be the title for every minimum wage job if you ask me. Anyway, although we were working the same position, she had been there for years. So, you know, she was teaching me the ways of the fine art of cleaning toilets, scrubbing floors, flipping burgers, and above all else, kissing every customer's ass. Which is fine. I knew what I signed up for and I took it like a man. Until I got to the end of my graveyard shift, and you know, I ain't even gonna front. I was being pretty lazy, or another way to say it, I was putting in minimum effort. But I mean, that's why it's called a minimum wage job, cause all you have to do is exert minimal effort, right? But this scallywag thought otherwise. There was 5 minutes left on my shift and she pulls up on me and asks me to stock the fridge. And in my head I'm thinking, why not? But I'll probably have to leave it half done anyway, cause my shift is almost over, baby. But then she hits me with the most stupid, hilarious, and kind of sad sentence I've heard in a long time. Once you stock the fridge, I might let you go home. Like, what do you mean, might? I don't know if you've checked our name badges, but yours is titled the same as mine, that being slave for $10 an hour. Like, don't get me wrong, I ain't trying to shame anyone who's worked or working minimum wage. It's a struggle out here and everybody needs dough, and minimum wage jobs are really the only option if you don't have a degree or special skills. But this lady, well, I say lady, but she was my age. In fact, we went to the same middle school. Was bucking off some straight exotic for mouthing those words into existence. Like, I don't know what she expected me to respond, like, "Ah, yes, thank you for your kindness. I will see to it that it is done, your madam." But I just said, I don't know what you mean by that, but my shift is ending in 5 minutes, and I'm going to be leaving in 5 minutes. And to that, she didn't respond anything, cause deep in her heart, she must have known what she said was dumb AF. Now, what we can take from this experience is some people can't accept reality, and instead try to project a false one in their mind. For her, she had been working at that gas station for a while, and was probably starting to feel like kind of a loser, but instead of saying to herself, okay, I'm not doing so good right now, but I sure as hell ain't gonna stay like this. I'ma work on myself every day until I get where I wanna be. She took the easy way out and told herself, man, life hates me. It's so unfair. All I can do is take out my bitterness towards it in my work by being a total douche to everybody and acting like I own the place. No, wait, practically? I do own the place. Yeah, I'm the big dog around here. So yeah, don't be that guy, for the good of others and also yourself, cause if you let yourself fall to that place, you're gonna be that grumpy adult, talking about how life has always been against you and how everything is so unfair towards you. And I don't think any of you wanna be that. But that was just one of the gas station sweats I encountered, and she was a mere disciple. One with talent, yes, but it would be long until she could control her hatred. You see, there was another, one with much more control over her anger, but still working the same position. Yet, alas, she hadn't been working there for a mere 2 years. No. 30 was the time of service for her. And she wasn't actually that mean, she just took her job way too serious. But I mean, I can't blame her because everybody needs purpose in this life, and if your calling is to clean toilets and make hot dogs, then, well, gosh darn, you gotta follow it. The only problem was, this woman was pushing this job onto me like I wanted to be there. Talking about if you wanna make it here, you gotta do this and that. Like, no, I don't wanna make it here, I wanna make it out of here. Got me thinking of how different people see the world, cause someone like myself could be watching 8 Mile and seeing the scenes where Eminem is working minimum wage and think, man, I know he gonna make it out of there. He Eminem, the king of rap. This is just temporary. But she was probably watching it and thinking, oh my god, how lucky he is to be there. If he keeps this up for a year or so, he'll get a promotion and make an extra $1 an hour. God damn. So yeah, it's all about perspective and the type of person you are, but I think the saying, shoot for the moon, cause even if you don't get there, you'll land among the stars, can really help a lot of people, especially if you are young. You should follow your dreams, however crazy they might seem, cause I promise you, it's quite hard to fail if you never give up. Also, working minimum wage is fine, and if you wanna take a job like that super serious, that's cool. Just don't force that same attitude onto other people, cause most dudes don't see a place like that as the end, but as a way to progress to the actual place they want to be.
High school parties. One of the only places on earth where you can see a mofo jug a bottle of vodka, do a backflip, land on his head, then proceed to get up and go spit some game to the host's mom, and you'd still be like, meh. Like, these places are so filled with hormone energy and axe spray, the only comparison you can really make is high school locker rooms. But even them shits ain't got nothing on the parties. I mean, you basically take these Neanderthals from their locker rooms, throw them in a big house, add unlimited liquor and some baddies all dressed to get these motherfucking cavemen horny, and you got yourself a situation where if the house doesn't burn down and no one dies, it's considered a success. Like, one time I was at a party with the homie Salamander, and we were just camped out on the couch when this mofo pulled up on us like, yo, is it just me, or is Brittany totally eyeing me in the corner there? I don't know. Looks like she's just talking with her friends, bro. Nah. I think she wants to dirty, if you know what I'm saying. I'ma go check it out. Holy shit, bro. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I think the alcohol disinfected my wounds. Anyway, I'm gonna go raise up.
Like, bro, ain't no other place on planet Earth where a mofo can fall on a glass table, get cut up and covered in alcohol, and still only have one objective in mind.
Must get some hoes.
But not everybody's at the parties to pull baddies. There is a select few that have abandoned the genetic desire to get hoes and instead go to these places to get as shit-faced as humanly possible. Like, these are dudes that after graduating 10 years down the line, you'll go back to your school's town and walk down the street and be like, wait, hold up. Is that Brent?
Hey, can you spare some change? Can you give $1, bro? I need it to buy, you know what I want.
Oh shit, it is. Oh, okay. Just walk past him. I don't think he'll recognize me.
Hey, AOC? Is that you?
Me? No, I'm Jefferson.
Nah, you see, I remember you. Hey, you think you can spare some change? I'ma go to the sick high school rager tomorrow, and I could use some.
Sorry, no, I'm Jefferson, and I have no idea who you are, so I'ma just leave. But bro, I swear, you can foresee everybody's future by just looking around in a high school party. I mean, usually the function's participants were divided into groups. You got the baddies, the jocks, the nerds, and then you got the motherfuckers who pull up just to start some shit. Like, these three dudes I used to see at all the parties, let's just call them Peter, Tom, and Jeff, were there just to be menaces, bro. These the types of dudes to root for Joker, not Batman, bro. Straight super villains. Every time you saw them pull up to a function, you knew some shit was about to go down. They come with a bottle of Absolute vodka, sit down at the table, and start slamming shots one by one. And every time they finished that bottle, they'd get up and start walking up on groups just passive aggressively trying to start shit. But in their hearts, there was a bunch of pussios. Like, before they got that Absolute in their system, or if they weren't all together, they ain't say a word. Like, I remember at one party, I was bugging off some liquor and za when I saw one of these so-called tough guys sitting alone, probably waiting for his friends to bring some Absolute so he could drown his insecurities. And I was kinda bored, so I walked up on him purely out of curiosity and asked, "Hey bro, I got a question."
Yeah, what?
Like, why y'all mofos always trying to start shit? Like, don't y'all know nobody likes you? Doesn't that bother you?
What you mean, man? You got a problem?
Slow down there, John Jones. I ain't your wife, and I got no problem. I think it's you who's got that problem, bro.
Hey, what's going on here? Is there a problem? Hey, what's going on here? Is there a problem?
Bro, y'all a bunch of NPCs. Man, y'all probably don't even know what that means. Anyway, have fun with the vodka, you scoundrels. And from that day forward, I was like these dudes' arch nemesis, I swear. I mean, every time I saw them at a party, they gave me the stank eye. Although, because they were all like 5'10" unathletic drunks, and I'm a 6'6" athlete, these dudes avoided me like some taxes, bro. Which pissed me off so much, cause I was just itching to beat the shit out of them. But I ain't them, so I would never start something like that. One thing I did start though, mostly with the homie Salamander, was that after party smoke sesh. I mean, on God, I was feeling like a profit, cause as we all know, the za is a great cure for a hangover, so even though no one really wanted to be high during the party, after, it was a whole different story. Mofos just appeared out of nowhere, man, I swear, these dudes were like zombies from The Walking Dead. As soon as they smelt the za, they got their drunk asses up from the bathtub or from under the table and started walking towards it. I swear, man, it was like AoE farming in an MMORPG or something. Grab the spliff, walk around the party without looking back, and once I got to the sesh spot, I turn around and there's like 10 different dudes all saying the same thing.
Hey, yo, you think I can get a couple puffs out of that thing, bro?
And man, what profit would I be if I ain't give these hungover dudes a taste of that good? Although sometimes I was tempted to say no, just to see the hope drain from their eyes and be refilled with the agony and suffering of the hangover. But in reality, I never had it in my heart to say no, and sometimes that bitch ain't even make the full rotation. Place was looking like the Last Supper, just without the food. Anyway, high school parties were always crazy, and if you're still in school, I recommend you attend them as much as you can without screwing up your grades, cause after school, you ain't never gonna experience that shit again, bruh.
Buying from the plug is always an experience, cause unless you're super tight with him, you never know if you're gonna get the leftover oregano Reggie pack he scraped from the bottom of his grinder, or if you lucky and the RNG god smile upon you, you might just get the finest organic grass-fed grass there is on planet Earth. But alas, most plugs keep that quality stuff for only the loyalist of customers or new buyers. For me, it was the latter. It begins with me and the main homie Salamander. We had just gotten home from school on a Friday and had scraped our money together for a night of hitting the Spliffington and playing video games. Now, usually it was Salamander who secured the bag, cause I didn't really have too many connects. Unfortunately, this time he was unable to find the holy saw from his usual catalog of plugs. But we didn't let that discourage us, cause we knew if there is a will, there is a way. So both me and Salamander started hitting up everybody we knew who dabbled with the powers of the green plant, and it wasn't looking too good. Altogether, we wrote about 10 people, half of which just ignored us, and the other half just said they were out. So, as we sat there on the couch, hope dwindling, sadness emerging, and worst of all, no Zaza approaching, we were about to call it a day, when one of the dudes who had initially ignored us sent out a beacon of light. Yeah, I know a guy, he just started plugging, so I can't vouch for the quality, but he definitely got some. Now, if you've ever been in a situation like this, you know it is one of the best feelings in the world when you've almost given up, but in the last second, you get that holy text of, yeah, how much? But even though we were pretty stoked, we were also a little bit wary, because this $20 we had saved up was the equivalent of 20 million in today's money, and because this guy was new and no info was given on the quality, we were scared of getting a bag of oregano. And I mean, at the time, we both thought all plugs are grueling gangsters ready to kill you on sight if you so much as make the wrong sound. So if it really was a bag of oregano, there was nothing we could do about it. Anyway, the time comes for us to meet up with this mysterious plug, and the instructions he gave us were to come to this rundown gas station's loading area in the back at 8 p.m. sharp. So we did. As we were standing there at 7:58 p.m., we could only imagine what vicious, heinous, devious killer would come to greet us. So yeah, we hyped him up a little too much, but all that mattered now was the grass and if it was good or not. We went through the usual plug dialogue options like, yo, what's up? Yeah bro, can't wait to get suited today. This that good, etc. Until he finally revealed the grass, and what I witnessed to this day I find absurd. The grass was golden.
Nani?
Not in like shiny gold, but it was this yellowish color with green accents. Beautiful. And the smell. Bro opened that bag up for us to sniff, but it was not necessary, as the smallest opening in that Ziploc baggie consumed the entire area with the finest fragrance imaginable. Oh, okay, well, finest is the wrong word probably. The shit smelled like cat piss, but that's a good thing with Zaza. So we gave up our $20 with no hesitation and returned to Salamander's place with this golden grass of the gods. Now, usually we would just roll up a spliff and consume the za like that, but as this seemed to be legendary material and we didn't want to waste even a single microgram, we made a makeshift can that would allow us to ration this gram to the maximum. So now it was time to hit the za, and it went something like this. Are you ready? Shit, you know it. Here goes nothing. You good, bro? Yeah, you gotta hit this shit, man. good? You good, bro? You hear me? You good? Yeah, man, this is some good stuff. This shit was heavenly. It was not of this world, I swear. Now, I'm not sure if it was because our tolerance was pretty much zero at the time, or it was really grass descending from heaven. Probably a mix of both. But one thing I do know, that was the highest I had ever been up until that point. And well, as we know, when you were really high, you don't remember much the night after. So unfortunately, I don't know exactly what we talked about or what we did, but I do remember that we caught a major case of the Joker's laughing gas cause we found everything hilarious. We were so goddamn high, it took us a solid 20 minutes to navigate the PS4 menu to launch our game of Call of Duty. And when we did launch it, we were cognitively impaired. Felt like the controller was inverted or some shit. But safe to say, that Friday night we were truly blessed by the plug, and we went on to exclusively buy from that guy until he stopped plugging 1 month later. But he will always hold a special place in my heart as the plug of plugs. We've all cheated on a test or quiz at least once. I mean, sometimes the teacher just made it so easy that it would have been a sin not to cheat. Like, mans literally would be like,
okay, time for the test to start. Now, I'm gonna write all the answers on this board and leave the classroom, but if I see you peeking, I'm gonna deduct 1 whole point from your score, so I better not catch any of you lacking. Fools.
And some mofo still wouldn't cheat. Like, bro, how much of a nerd can you be? But then again, there were dudes like me who finessed every damn chance they got. And as we know, the path of the cheater is a slippery one. But everyone always starts off on level 1. Okay, just this once. The innocent level 1. This is the student who doesn't consider cheating a viable option and only does so if the situation is just so incredibly unfair to the people who actually study that he feels mistreated and joins the dark side. But once you do it once, whether it's in middle school, high school, college, whatever, it's usually a one-way ticket to level 2. Yeah, I only cheat in history, it's just so easy. Welcome to the first level where you actively search out for optimal situations where you can cheat. You still would never cheat if you weren't certain that there is no way you are gonna get caught. Knowing this, you only finesse at certain subjects where the teacher is 80 years old and just can't be bothered to give even a single or you're one of the lucky few who got a seat at the far back, where even if the teacher got on a pair of binoculars, he still wouldn't be able to catch you lacking. But once you do this enough and build up your confidence, the darkness will consume you further and further until one day you discover yourself on level 3, the folly of man. You've cheated enough at optimal conditions that you feel you are prepared to take on a higher challenge, but for this, it can no longer be as simple as having your phone on your lap or writing answers on your palms. This is the level where you start googling how to cheat on tests and find the most devious and secretive methods known to man, like writing answers on the back of water bottle labels, buying one of those pens with a slide out paper, conspiring with other fellow cheaters and using goddamn Morse code to communicate. And the list goes on and on. Now, depending on how talented and sleek you are will determine if your journey ends here with an embarrassing moment of getting caught lacking, or you will move on to level 4. I don't even have half the textbooks, bro. Welcome to purgatory. At this point, you have cheated so much that turning back is not an option, as you are so incredibly behind on your studies that if you stopped cheating, you would be, well, to put it bluntly, you would be f***ed. As a symptom of this level, you are in every cheaters group chat and every elite answers group chat, but the thing that bothers you most is that you haven't been caught. Is this really all you got? You think to yourself as you stand in front of the school entrance. You start looking at life a little bit differently, cause I mean, if you can scheme your way through school, why not life? But only the strongest of wills and determination will get you to the final level. Level 5. Legend. You've done it. You successfully cheated your way through school. Even the goddamn finals and exams couldn't stop you. You put it all on the line, your dignity, your reputation, your future, just to prove to not only yourself but the world that no matter what, you refuse to study why goddamn frogs are green and how CO2 reacts with H2O into optimal conditions. Cause quite frankly, you just don't give a f***.
And you wanted to prove to the world that that's okay. But now it's time to get into the real endgame, which is final level. Survive life. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, if you actually cheated through the entirety of school, it was probably much more stressful and hard than actually studying. So if you keep that same determination for your future endeavors, I'm sure you will do A-okay.
Bro, if you was in school anywhere during or after 2015, you get what I mean when I say the bathrooms have gone way too far. Like, if you weren't with the bathroom gang, you were better off going outside the school premises and taking a piss in the woods or something. Especially if you vaped. Cause man, these savages could smell it on you. And they broke asses had no sense of boundaries either. So as soon as they sensed they could get a quick hit off of you, it was on sight.
Hey, I saw you got a vape. Can I get a quick rip off that thing by any chance, eh?
These dudes lived in the bathroom rent-free, and you're telling me they didn't even have money for their own vape? I guess so, cause every time you went in there with a new one, all of them suddenly turned into your best friend.
Hey, yo, C, remember me? Can you give me a quick rip, please?
Yo, dude, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing
cool. Hey, can you give me a couple puffs off that thing by any chance, please? And these quick rip beggars were only the beginning. I haven't even talked about how the bathroom turned into the damn black market as soon as vapes came along. I mean, you had dudes literally pulling Juul pods and flavored liquids out their jacket like they were some Hollywood generic drug dealers. But every now and again, you could find a dude selling grass as well. Every time that shit happened, it had mofos straight flabbergasted. Everybody started spreading the word around like they found the Excalibur. God damn.
Hey bro, did you hear Andre's selling the Zaza? Yeah, it's crazy. And he's only asking $50 a gram as well.
You heard me right, 50 bucks a G. And crazy part was, that shit always sold out quick. I mean, back then our young schoolboy minds thought the ZA was some real Area 51 FBI classified shit. So even though most dudes could never afford it by themselves, everybody would band their lunch money together and buy the holy gram.
For $50
Which, although a total scam, it made you appreciate the ZA so much, cause literally it was like a once in a year event to even get the chance to buy it. Problem was though, the grass you got at the bathroom was usually always a scam, cause the dude selling it was the same as everybody else and probably got it by yoinking it from their older brother or something, which he would then proceed to smoke 80% of the stuff himself and mix the remaining with oregano and sell it in the bathroom as premium Zaza. And we all believed it. Thing was, man's got away with it too, cause most dudes ain't know shit about grass, plus, you know, with the tolerance being zero as well, kids probably got high just by looking at that Za. Or oregano. But anyway, selling $50 oregano was just one of the monstrosities committed in the school bathroom. We ain't even talk about the sick game that was popularized by the most degenerate high schoolers to ever walk the earth. And that game was throwing wet toilet paper balls at the walls and sometimes each other. Did you guys have this at your school or just me? Like, I get silly bands and slinging those, but bro, goddamn wet toilet paper balls? Do you even understand how gross that is? Like, imagine getting hit with that right in your face. Not only would it hurt, you'd have this slush in your eyes, nose, and mouth. And now you gotta wipe it off and hope the dude who threw it didn't wipe his ass with it before. Like, just... it's awful. But I wasn't having none of that, so every time that shit was going on, I just straight up said, I ain't even gonna beat around the bush, guys. Anyone who throws a TP ball at me, accident or not, we throwing hands until one of us dies. Thankfully, that always seemed to work, and I can gladly say I've never been hit with a wet TP ball. But talking about throwing hands, why the fuck did some dudes decide that bathroom was the best place to duke it out? It's clearly not, cause I mean, all it takes is one boink on a sink, and if you don't clutch the gulag, you ain't coming back, bro. Although that never seemed to stop anybody from fighting. I wouldn't say it was a common occurrence, but every month or so there would be a dispute, usually about a broken vape, a girl, or something like that. And then dudes would proceed to throw hands like little sissy babies. Not to be rude or anything, but usually the dudes who hanged around in the bathroom and vaped all day were not killers, so the fight would usually just be random haymakers that would eventually dissolve into both just wrestling on the ground until one of them got tired or someone broke it up. But that's the problem with fights in the bathroom as well, because everyone is well aware of the possibility of boinking your head on the urinal and dying, Every fight was always so cautious and mostly just wrestling on the ground. Not that I promote violence or anything, it's just often after a dispute in the bathroom, neither of the participants felt like they lost, so they would still trash talk each other and never really settle their differences. Compared to if one of them got knocked the fuck out, someone would have been humbled and a clear winner would have been declared, and therefore the beef would have been settled. But there was one redeeming quality I felt the school bathroom had that is getting quite rare in today's society, and that was the fact that everybody was welcomed. Like for real, the dudes who vaped and occupied the bathroom were always chill, and you could be a jock, a nerd, a dancer, a teacher, a Rastafari, a PewDiePie fan, a LeBron D rider, they wouldn't care. You could join the circle as long as you promised to get addicted to nicotine with them.
Okay, now that I think about it, they just sound like just a bunch of dickheads who didn't want to feel inferior because they were addicted and you weren't, so they were like, yeah, take a quick rip. It tastes great. Soon you'll be begging for them just like the rest of us.
But hey, that's just a theory, a school bathroom theory. But I don't know about you guys, but I can be kind of a straight to the point, don't care how you feel type of guy. But for some reason, when I'm faded, that low-key changes. Like the Za seems to make me care more about others and how they feel. Don't get me wrong though, I'm not out here going out of my way to help some grandma cross the street and then run into the nearest blood donation bank where after donating my blood, I volunteer myself at the soup kitchen. It's more like if I wasn't high and was waiting in traffic and an old lady was crossing the street, I think, oh my god, you chose the perfect time to cross the street, didn't you? Now I have to sit here like an idiot. I got to do, woman. Move! Compared to if I was theoretically high. Look at that grandma crossing the street. I wonder where she's going. Probably to see her grandkids. Just wonderful. So yeah, I guess the Za makes me more inclined to other people's problems in life, whereas if I'm not faded, I seem to focus mostly on my own without taking into account others. But it's not that simple if we're trying to answer the question of, does being high make you a better person? Because another way to look at it is, it just makes you more lazy. Like the example of the grandma crossing the street. What if the difference in reaction is not that of me being just a great all-around guy, but the Za just making me forget why I was in a rush in the first place? Being annoyed, stressed, nervous, etc., although not nice feelings, are symptoms of doing something out of your comfort zone, and doing something outside that zone is really the only way to get anywhere in life. Think about it. Do you know anyone who is actually successful in anything without frequently being stressed? You probably don't. Well, you might, but that dude is just probably some snobby rich kid who embezzles funds from their dad's yacht maintenance fund into their shitty little company they started with their friends that they only use to make it seem like it's them who's making money, when in reality all they're doing is taking funds from their rich parents and putting them into their pocket and telling everybody I worked for it, but hey, what do I know? Anyway, we've concluded that the Za can make you a more understanding and better person, but it can also make you a lazy mofo who loses the ability to step outside their comfort zone. So, is it bad? Nah, I mean, not really. As we know, the key to everything in life is moderation. And if practiced correctly, it can help you with literally everything, not just the Zaza. My point here is that there is a time and place for everything, so there is no real answer to if the Zaza makes you a better person, because it all depends on the context of the situation. So if you're always faded and sit around and eat pizzas and watch the Shaolin Chronicles all day, but then say your philosophy is, bruh, I'm all about peace and love. I don't wanna be like you, stressing out all the time. I chase tranquility. Your argument is not valid to anyone who is trying to achieve something in life besides tranquility. But then again, it goes the other way around as well. So a 24/7 stressed out, always working, never resting dude would say something like, if you want to make it anywhere in life, you can never rest. You gotta outwork everyone, even if that means drinking 6 energy drinks a day, vaping 24/7 to stop the disease of feeling tired, and you gotta sleep a maximum of 4 hours a day to maximize your work time. And obviously, you gotta work out at least 3 hours a day to build that muscle. Like, bro, chill. You might be rich, but what does that matter if you die at 35? Obviously, these are two extremes, both at different far ends of the spectrum, and really, you should try to position yourself somewhere in the middle. There is a time and place for everything, especially for the green magic plant, because if you start frequently using it, it really does take your edge away, and if your goal for life isn't only tranquility, then that is definitely a bad thing.
Then again, if you're an uber-focused person who finds it very hard to relax even when they should be, then the Zaza can definitely help you in that department and give you a well-deserved break. And dare I say, it can even make you a better person. Or at least make it seem like it to the people around you, cause in reality, you're the same guy, just on a different planet. For example, here are some everyday situations whilst high versus when you aren't. Number 1. Someone asks you to do the laundry, but you're not high. Hey bro, can you please do the laundry? Okay, I will. Versus if you are high. Hey bro, can you please do the Shh. Of course I'll do the laundry. You did it last time, it's only fair. Second situation, you're stuck in traffic on a sunny day, whilst you're not high. How long is this shit gonna take? I should've just taken the second road. Versus when you are high. Ooh, is that a new Porsche? Damn, that guy must be rich. So nice just bathing under the sun in this traffic. Oh shit, I gotta move. Number 3, you're in the cinema and you're high. This is awesome. Versus you're not high, this is lame. Okay, the last one didn't really add anything to the video. I just really like being high in the cinema. Anyway, I hope you learned something from this video and maybe achieved tranquility. I think you guys know high school, and in particular high school bathrooms, were the go-to spot to go vape. And I mean, there was just something about those dirty sinks and broken urinals that screamed, "Come vape here." But anyway, if you watch some of my videos, you probably know I'm not much of a puffer, but there was a time when a young high school CBD bro actually owned his own shitty little dollar store vape. But how I got it is pretty damn ridiculous. It was a normal school morning, and as usual, me and some friends were just hanging out at the corridor, chatting, playing mobile games, you know, the usual. When one of the dudes from the parallel class runs up on us and drops a massive bomb on everybody. Hey, do you guys know what's happening today? Do you know? Jason Voorhees is running around killing all the students. What? No, there's a police inspection. They're going through all our jackets, bags, lockers, and everything, man. Oh, no, that's really bad. To me, this was whatever, cause I mean, I had nothing to hide. To be honest, I didn't even have a bag or locker for most of my time in high school, cause there was no need, being that I didn't even have any of the textbooks. But alas, most of my friends were panicking hard, cause a lot of them had a vape liquid, shit, some mofos were even carrying a baggie of that exotic. And because of the police raid, everybody who had these banned items were presented with 3 real options, each with their own set of positives and minuses. Number 1 was the most simple but least rewarding. It was just to straight up throw away your vape or try to hide it somewhere outside the school grounds. Although the latter was near impossible, cause the school was kinda monitoring students trying to leave. The upside though with this was that it was real simple, stress-free and easy. Downside being, to some of these dudes, their vape was their baby, and if it was an expensive one, it was kind of out of the question, cause $50 back then was months of saving. The second option was to YOLO it and try to hide the vape in school or on school grounds. Now, most dudes didn't even consider this an option, and I don't know why. Mofos run about, yeah, but if they find it, it's got my DNA on it. Like, bro, who do you think you are? If you really were out here flipping packs like Pablo Escobar and on the police most wanted list, you probably wouldn't be in high school. I bet they were watching too much CSI Investigation, or I don't know, were bugging off that paranoid pack, cause that just seemed stupid to me, even back then. But alas, this paranoia is what kinda led me to purchase a vape, because the third option was sell your vape for a massive discount. And a lot of mofos did this, and me being the businessman I am, I took this opportunity to purchase a fine machine that I looked up and found to cost around $35. Now, how big was this discount, you might be wondering? 20, 30, 50%? No. I purchased myself a fine vaporizing machine for the price of $2 and half of my double Snickers bar, although it wasn't quite the deal it might seem. So here I am, it's about 10 AM, next class is gonna start in like 10 minutes, and I'm brainstorming, trying to think of the perfect place to hide this thing. I considered putting in one of those tissue dispensaries in the bathroom, cause they were really easy to open and it seemed like the move. But then I thought, what if someone got a major case of diarrhea or something and end up emptying it out only for my vape to pop out? And worst case scenario, he tells the teacher and they devise a plan to catch me lacking at the end of the day when I try to go retrieve my vape. So yeah, I was kind of on that paranoia pack too, but what I ended up doing is actually a lot more complicated and devious.
You see, inside the school grounds, there were a couple good areas, one being the running track that was covered by these rubber mats that you could lift up and just about squeeze a smaller vape in. The only problem was, everybody thought of this, and by the time I went outside to stash my vape, I saw like 4 or 5 dudes all walking back from the track looking all sus. I just assumed everybody had hidden their piece there, so I had to think of something else, cause I ain't trying to copy others. And what I came up with was genius. I hid my vape near this big ass vent that regulated the school's climate, I think. There were these stone slabs there, you see, and after wrapping my vape up with rubber bands and toilet paper, I lifted up the slab and stashed it there. Genius. Well, it would have been if not for one crucial mistake, the single flaw in my master plan. Being so proud of my devious plot, I decided to tell like 5 or 6 friends of this, only to be betrayed and have my vape stolen by Ricky. But it took me a good month to figure that out, as he had taken the vape for personal use, I guess. I really don't know. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention to you guys is the vape, well, it was kinda broken. At the time I couldn't tell cause I didn't know jack about him, but every time I tried to inhale it, it gave off this burning taste and would make the smallest of clouds, so I couldn't even do them cool little tricks. Eventually, I ended up getting that vape back, but at that point, I was kinda done with it, so I just kinda brought it to school one day and threw it off the 5th story and watched how the $2 half Snickers bar investment was shattered into millions of pieces, and my dreams of making a 5 to 10x return on investment were dead. Oh, and it turns out the police weren't even there to manhandle the students and take their vapes. They were there to check on some equipment that had accidentally gone off during a fire alarm or something. So yeah, never trust a dude who looks like he's being chased by a serial killer cause his vape might be taken away. That's like the moral of the story, I think.
Do you remember your first time smoking the Zaza? I bet you used either some type of makeshift Mountain Dew can where you inhaled more green paint than anything, or you rolled yourself an abomination of a spliff where half the stuff got stuck in the filter whilst you were standing there sucking on it like...
Bro, why this shit ain't working?
Bro, of course it ain't working. Look at the damn crutch. You were supposed to roll a filter, not a leak-proof titanium pipe. Fool.
Yet, the more you blaze, the better your tools and skills to do so improve. But everybody starts off at Level 1, First Timer. This is the level where you'll be holding your butts like Elon Musk. Only you're not Elon Musk and your homies will clown the hell out of you for holding the split like it was a diamond or something. Also, at this point, your understanding of rolling blitz is that you put the stuff in the middle and just kind of roll it up like a cone. It doesn't actually work like that. And if you were to hit any type of can or makeshift bong, even after the slightest inhale, you'll be on the floor coughing your lungs out of your throat like... So I just inhaled from this opening? Yeah, man.
You bastard, you licked it, didn't you?
But no worries, after a while of being clowned on, you'll eventually learn enough to get to Level 2.
Yeah bro, I can roll it no problem.
Even though you're still only a beginner, this is where your confidence is at its highest, cause you've rolled a couple splits and instead of them being completely unusable, the homies usually are like, okay, whatever, it'll do. This is also the stage where you'll probably green out for the first time, cause you overestimate your tolerance a lot. Thinking that just cause you've blazed up 3 times in the past 30 days, you're ready to go over to the homie's house and start hitting something called gravity bump? Whatever though, how much higher can you even get, right? Also, at this stage you just might have a makeshift aluminium can pipe thing at your place, but buying an actual is out of the question, cause you'd rather cough till you're on the floor in tears than pay $20 for something that isn't even necessary. Well, wait a month or so and you'll be on Level 3.
Schmack the diddly do.
At this point, you've decided that the negative health implications of inhaling paint and plastic into your lungs is worth fixing with $23. And now that you have your own piece, your tolerance has gotten to the point where you can handle gravity sessions pretty well. There's really not much to say at this level, except you're the average smoker who can roll a quality spliff in a couple minutes, and you usually never ruin the group's vibe because you got too high. Well, that's until you get to Level 4. What's a dab, bro? You've mastered the powers of a gravity bomb, but one day your friend invites you over to his place, thinking it's gonna be an average day of blazing and playing Warzone. But then he pulls out something that looks a lot like a vape, only it's not a vape, it's the key to the other side. You hit the Benjamin for the first time, and you find yourself completely obliterated. So much so that you think to yourself, never again will I hit the Benjamin, for the power is too much for a mere mortal to handle. Until you realize that normal butt just don't get you as high as you would want to get. So you get your own pen, and eventually you'll be on level 5, the double Benjamin. Now at this point, you've thrown your bong in a box somewhere and you use something that looks straight out of a Rick and Morty episode, a dab station. But to be honest, you're starting to miss the good old days of getting faded by just sharing a spliff with the homies. Cause at this point, unless you're hitting ridiculous blinkers with the double Benjamin, man, you barely feel high. So you decide it's time to take a tolerance break and ascend into level 6, Avatar, the master of all 4 elements. You've realized that chasing the next knockout high isn't really what blazing is about, and you now just smoke up at appropriate times with the appropriate tools. So if you're just trying to chill and play video games, you might just hit a quick rip from the bong. Or if you're going to the store, you'd roll a nice spliff. And if you're going to, let's say, an amusement park with your friends, well, that's when you might consider busting out the double Benjamin and getting faded than a hoe.